Welcome to the special public meeting of March 6, 2019 of the Township of Washington Council. Adequate notice of the meeting was given in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act by the Township Clerk to at least 2 newspapers on March 1, 2019, and this notice has been posted on the Township Bulletin Board and on the Township website. Please notify the municipal clerk for any disability requirements necessary for attendance at mayor and council meetings. The fire exits are located through the double doors to your right and through the door on your left. Please silence all cell phones. Would everybody please stand for a salute to the flag? I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Councilman Bruno?
Here.
Councilman Casio?
Here.
Councilman Cumming?
Here.
Councilman Oman?
Here.
Council President DeSena?
Here. Also in attendance, Mayor Peter Calamari, Administrator Tovo, CFO Curran, and Township Clerk Rokowski, and members of the Police Department. Do I have a motion to open the meeting up to the public?
So moved.
Second.
Councilman Bruno?
Yes.
Councilman Casio?
Yes.
Councilman Cumming?
Yes.
Councilman Oman?
Yes.
Council President DeSena?
Yes. Seeing nobody in the audience, do I have a motion to close the meeting to the public?
So moved.
Second.
Councilman Bruno?
Yes.
Councilman Casio?
Yes.
Councilman Cumming?
Yes.
Councilman Oman?
Yes.
Council President DeSena?
Yes. Good evening, gentlemen. 2019 budget, first on for the budget is the Police Department. We have members from the Police Department here. Page 25, gentlemen.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much.
25, right?
Yeah.
So, gentlemen, 901-25-240-110 and 901-25-240-120 will be skipped because it's part of contract negotiation, so we'll do that enclosed. So 110 and 120 we're going to skip because that's part of contract negotiation, so we will flag those for later on. Police 901-25-240-150 crossing guards. How do we want to do this? We want to slide them up with us, Sue? What do you think the best, leave them where they are? You guys okay where you are, Chief? Okay, all right.
Well, as long as we can hear if they say
Okay.
anything, and I'll keep an eye here on it.
So 901-25-240-150, 66,000 requested, 66,000 budgeted. Any questions on that, gentlemen?
Same crew, pretty much?
Yes.
It has, there was a discussion about crossing guards at one of the schools. Does this reflect any changes or the status quo?
Yours, what, sir?
This is Leo.
The special officer,
That's later on, yes, we're going to do the special officer.
But will this number change because of that?
Got to get another crossing guard because there's one been kind of let go. So we need one to replace the other crossing guards throughout as the alternate crossing guard.
okay, but the overall head count is unchanged, is constant,
Right now, we've got one, but we're going to hire another.
okay.
We'll be okay with the request and the budgeted amount, gentlemen?
They don't
Yes.
get a raise?
What's that?
They don't get a raise, or?
Doesn't show, well, they had 66 last year, Mike, and they didn't use the whole budget, so
It's so minimal that it's not going to show on the number.
it's not gonna show.
Okay.
I'm good with it.
Sue, can we have the wireless mic for the police department? Thank you.
You want to try to get them up here?
Or you.
That's what I was trying to see.
If you want, we can go up to the dais and sit up there, and they can come
Ricky's got the
here.
room set up for here.
Oh, well, then I guess that's not gonna work.
Let me switch
Yeah, but the
over.
days the microphones are working.
Yeah, but he's got,
Yeah, let me slide over.
well, just slide over, we can slide them up here.
Yeah, why don't we do that? That's
We'll
fine.
get cozy.
We don't,
Get my seat back.
Come on, come in.
Art, you can come closer.
He's getting me back.
Or let's-
No, just move the bag over. No problem. What do you see then?
What size better for you, sir?
Your lefty or righty?
Where do you feel comfortable?
Thank you.
Both of us.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Great
yeah,
show.
We're having a fire drill without the fire department. We got the police department, right?
Guys are on the way.
Thanks for squeezing us.
Thank you, gentlemen. So we okay with line 150, gentlemen, for crossing guards?
Yes, aren't we?
Yep. Okay, police vacation buyback, 90125-240-160, 30,000 requested, 30,000 budgeted.
I see.
We lowered that to 20.
I'm sorry, 3020, I'm sorry. Thank you, Mr. Cummings.
We are discussing ways to minimize the impact of this budget item, and that's what that number is.
So we want to go with the mayor's request of 20,000?
We do.
Gentlemen, are we okay with the 20,000?
Yes.
Is that adequate, gentlemen? The 20?
As stated, we're looking into policy ways within the department to reduce the amount that guys will be selling back, so we anticipate that to be enough.
Okay,
Oh, excellent.
thank you, gentlemen.
Shall we approve it?
We okay, gentlemen?
I'm good with it.
Just out of curiosity, so when you do that, what's the offset?
The offset in terms
Well,
of,
you're saying you want to, what are you going to implement, a program? To sell this less?
again, dovetailing with some contract negotiations and policy changes, yeah.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
These are mild, aren't
We okay with that, gentlemen?
Yes.
Police personal day buyback, 90125-240-170, 4,000 requested, 4,000 budgeted. Are we okay with that?
Yes.
Yes? Mr. Bruno?
Yeah.
Yeah, same amount as last year.
Mr. Cummings, you okay?
they? Yes, sir.
Police department sick day payout, 90125-240-175, 38,000 requested, 38,000 budgeted.
No, it's 3175.
We're on 175,
No,
gentlemen.
no, no, Steve, I said it's the same as last year, 4,000. We spent 3175. right?
Yeah, I understand that, but they budgeted 28, you said they budgeted. I mean, I'll go, okay with the number, it's not an issue.
They budgeted 4, and we spent 3175.
We're okay. Well, we said we were okay with 4, right, gentlemen?
Yeah.
All right, let's move on. Sick day payout, 90125-240-175, 38,000 requested, 38,000 budgeted. Are we okay with that, gentlemen? They spent approximately 35,000 last year.
So what does that represent? And
In accordance with our collective bargaining agreement, if the officers don't use a sick day or don't use any of their sick days, they carry 5 days that they can get paid for. Under the old contract, I think in 2011, you used to carry over and you got paid at the end of your career.
Sure.
In 2011, we changed it. If you don't call out sick, you get paid for 5 of your sick days at the end of the year.
okay.
At straight time.
Are we filing Chapter 78 on that? Or they're exempt from Chapter 78 on that?
Good question. I think they're exempt, but we'll check that.
Because new hires, hires after 2011 should get zero payout.
For those of us that don't know what that
But
chapter
any new
is.
hires don't,
They don't get it, they're not eligible.
this is only a year-to-year thing. There's
Yeah,
no-
but-
There's no accumulation.
But the new state law says if you were hired, if you're a tier 5 after 2011, you're not eligible for the program any longer.
But this is a terminal leave program, it's not a
It's
sick
not an
program.
and it's not an accumulation.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, it's not?
It's not an accumulation, it's a payout.
But if you
the
pay,
next
it's
following
basically
year.
if you take 0 days, you can sell X amount of days. So it is in there, so we just gotta check to make sure they're exempt from it, because if they're not, then we gotta just revise the
I
policy.
believe that provision as per, when I was on negotiations and we did that, I remember this coming up, Mike.
And it was exempt?
As per the attorneys at that time.
I just wanna make
Yeah.
sure, I just don't wanna, because
It's a good point, we'll check it out.
Mike DeSena in his new job for a year and a half had to pay it back. Because they said he was eligible for it. He said he was eligible for it, and then he had to give it back. So I just,
No one likes giving back.
That's what I believe when we
All right.
negotiated. Yeah.
Are we okay with the 38,000, gentlemen?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. Police records clerk, 901-25-240-180, 19,000 requested, 19,000 budgeted. There's an increase here, gentlemen. Is this for more hours or?
What it's going to be is, there's going to be a potential retirement with the records clerk.
Okay.
So want to increase that to, instead of doing 4 days a week, 4 hours to 5 days. Plus, there's going to be a transition period where
Both of them would.
they're both going to have to work with the new person, whether it's male or female, is going to have to learn the new job
Okay.
from the current administrative assistant.
Gentlemen, we okay with that?
So is this an hour, what is this, an hourly? An hourly amount? Where they get paid by the hour?
To get paid for the hours.
So you want to change it
They're doing what now?
They're doing 4 days at 4 hours a day.
You want 5?
You want 5 and
So you want to bring them up to 20 hours, and it's going to be a new person also, and then
Plus,
transition.
this could be about a month or so worth of training
Overlap.
that has to be done.
So possibly next year. that number
4 hours a
goes
day
down.
for
Well, it's
5
gonna
days.
go down, because there's not gonna be 2 people.
And what's the timing of it?
Lucille has
Personnel, are
really,
we allowed
Well,
to? Yeah, personnel, don't go there.
Personnel, don't go there.
We get it. So it could be during what are we at, 19? So it could be a few months, not
it's gonna be a few months.
It's anticipated mid-year.
So, just to correct, I took the incumbent works 4 days, 5 hours?
4 days, 4 hours.
4 days, 4
You
hours,
want to go to 5 days, 4 hours.
and you want to go to 5?
5 days, 4
Okay.
hours.
So an increase of 4 hours per week.
Right.
Okay. We okay with this, gentlemen?
The only thing, the only issue, or the math doesn't work out, because we're requesting almost a 50% growth, and we're only increasing it by 20%.
You're gonna have to do the whole year, though.
4 hours.
It's 4 hours.
It's 4
They're
hours.
not- they're not
They're
gonna
going
make the
4 hours.
switch until.
From
mid-year.
16 to 20. That's a quarter.
We went from 11 or 12,000 actual
Yeah,
to 19
Yeah.
projected.
yeah.
So if it's only for an additional 20%, shouldn't the 11,000 or the 12,000 only grow by 20%?
But I think they're keeping 2 people in.
There's-
Oh, wow.
We might have some
There's-
overlap.
For an
there's-
overlap of about 2 months for job training.
Okay.
I mean, that might be less than that.
It might, yeah.
It depends if this person picks it up.
Yeah.
Do you have anybody?
Not yet.
So what do you put an ad out?
Mr. Tola, you can advertise for the position?
We will, yes.
Yes, you will. Mr. Bruno, they're going to advertise for the position.
Is it a certified position, or is it strictly administrative?
Administrative.
Administrative, they gotta be vetted for obvious reasons
Sure.
and everything else.
Okay.
Are we okay with the 19,000, gentlemen?
Yes.
Police Director of Public Safety, 901-25-240-190, $1,250 requested, $1,250 budgeted. You okay with that?
Yeah.
Did the director review the budget?
Not that I'm aware of.
Is this the same, or is this the new one that we put in? Did we put in somebody else, another person in the police?
No, it's still
No.
Mr. Cicchetti, right?
What, didn't we put public safety, somebody?
OEM.
No, that's the
Oh,
defense.
it's OEM.
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 Yeah. Police Sergeant Differential, 901-25-240-191, $13,000 requested, $13,000 budgeted. Are we okay with that, gentlemen?
That's contractual,
Yes.
Yes.
and it's less than
It's less.
last year?
Yes,
That's okay.
it is.
And a question with the possible new things we're working on in the department, will that change that particular number in the future?
Well, I don't know if you want to talk contract negotiation, but,
We can't.
okay.
We can.
Just a combination of that topic as well as policy, we feel that number will go down slightly and stabilize.
Okay.
Can I ask
One question.
Can I ask one question? Doesn't the budget have to assume, I don't want to say best and worst case, but what's being requested in terms of the request from the bargaining unit,
110 and 120 does include that one.
but does everything else?
It does.
Yes.
Okay, so then, all right.
So this number could significantly have a savings if 110 and 120 are approved. Does that answer your question, Dr. Cassian?
You know,
So if everything comes to fruition, the number will be probably reduced.
Right, that was my,
But we got to go with the worst case. This is worst case. We're working on worst case scenario, yes. This is
Nothing
worst-
changes, it
correct.
stays the same, we got to
Yes.
work with that number.
Correct.
Okay.
901-25-240-192, police terminal leave, zero budgeted, zero line item. Police special officers, 901-25-240-193, 75,000 requested, 75,000 budgeted. Gentlemen, this is the new
SLEO
SLEOs.
2 program, yes.
Is this for 2 of them or 1?
It's 1 full-time, 1 part-time.
should probably flag this until we get the results of the other two big ones, I think.
Well, this is a separate matter. This has
I
nothing to do
understand
with.
that, but it's all part of the public budget. Right?
No, they've made a request, the police department has made a request. I think you were out that night.
This is regardless of the contract.
Yeah.
You would still make this request?
They've made a request
whether-
to add the two special officers, one part-time and one full-time. I believe you weren't here that night, Mr. Bruno, so that's one of their requests for 2018.
And regardless of your schedule, you would still make this request?
Yes.
Correct.
Right. I mean, I can explain that a little more.
If you'd like to, please, Mr. Skinner.
So, in our current situation, crossing
I'm
guard
sorry,
post
sir.
at Washington School
Yes.
has gotten, over the years, significantly busier and busier, to the point where, at some point this year, we pretty much discovered that crossing guard was directing traffic, which they're not supposed to do. I have a copy of the Uniform Code on Traffic Direction, the MTCDU, if you want a copy, Bob, I'll provide it for you. It's clear that crossing guards are not supposed to direct traffic. They can stop brakes in traffic. They're supposed to have a stop paddle. We actually did run into a problem last year where that crossing guard didn't have a stop paddle, and, Jeff pointed that out to us. So essentially what we need is, we need to have a SLEO 2, Special Law Officer 2, to direct traffic at that crossing guard post, so it's a second traffic direction post in addition to the high school. We would give them other duties, of course, when they're not doing the two posts up in Washington. They would also be doing the traffic direction at the high school, which I think in some ways will save us money other places. But the bottom line is we can't have a crossing guard directing traffic, and as soon as we discovered that, we remediated. And actually, right now, we have a police officer up there directing traffic, but oftentimes he ends up there on overtime if there's staffing issues.
So this is for, I'm sorry, I missed the presentation.
Yeah, no worries.
So this is for how many people?
One full-time,
One and a half.
part-time.
1.5. Yeah.
1.5
One part-time. And if you're not familiar with the SLEO 2 program, just a general description, they are fully armed, almost fully trained police officers. Essentially, they're about 11 days short of a fully trained police officer. There's certain things that differ. They can't carry their gun off duty. They don't take it home. They don't have police powers out of town. But when they're in town, they generally have almost all the same powers that a police officer does.
So they can do traffic stops,
They
all
can
that
do
kind of.
traffic stops, they can do enforcement.
Just in town. as long
Just
as-
in town, yes.
Correct, but they would be a big help for speeders,
Yes.
like,
God forbid something.
we could stick one on Van Emberg.
They can do
Right.
traffic.
One of the things also that you mentioned, the active shooter situation, is we do want to also use them for more school security aspects, which would be, I kind of have a job description, Bob, if you want me to just.
I would, please.
Great.
Gentlemen, we okay?
My only concern, not a concern, but last year I asked to speak with the chief and the director about hiring and what our practices and what our policies are, as well as promotion. I asked a number of times. I recently, while on the dais, introduced some policies that are in effect in Wayne, and those were going to be reviewed, and we were going to come back to me and the council in general about the applicability, and I haven't heard anything. And I think this goes to what I would like to understand. I understand that there's a need. I'd like to understand how we're selecting our officers. When we spoke in closed session and we talked about the requirements or the minimum standards, those were the minimum standards overall, but they didn't reflect what the town's minimum standards were. So, I would just like to understand how we're hiring, what our hiring practices are in the police department.
For the SLEOs right now we're talking about, right, Mike?
I understand it's
No,
a
no, I'm saying,
SLEO.
you're asking the question regarding these two SLEO officers.
Well, these two and in general. So, I guess although I support the concept, I don't support hiring two officers, at least personally, until I understand what that process looks like.
Mr. Tuttle, can you talk to that?
First, answer the SLEO one or two question. Typically, the standard practice throughout the state is certified officers only are sought for those positions. So therefore, there's an interview process and extensive background check to select SLEO 1s and 2s. The promotional process you referred to, using the Wayne example, is something we're collectively looking at as a complete implementation of rules and regulations, policies and procedures, and hiring and promotional standards moving forward. It'll take at least a year to implement the rules and regs, the policies, and new promotional standards. That's best case scenario. Because priority number one is rules and regs and policies that support that. And along with that, we'll start working on the promotional and hiring criteria.
Well, I understand that you come with a unique perspective as a former chief, but, we have a chief who's retiring. We're going to have step-ups, I'm assuming, in staff, and there are going to be promotions on staff, and there's going to be hiring on staff. So I think it is germane to the discussion and germane to this, to what we're talking about specifically here.
I don't recall saying it wasn't germane to the conversation.
No, but we're saying there are other priorities and that it's, a year away. And I understand there are a lot of priorities. This happens to be my, a priority of mine.
And I respect that, but there's still a process we have to follow to get there.
Well, there is language in our current form of government that it's up to the mayor and the police chief and the police director's discretion on who to hire and who to promote. I mean, so there is policy there right now. We're just excluded from it, Mr. Holman.
Well,
And I think that's part of your question, is why we're excluded from it. But it is in the charter of our town that it's up to the discretion of the mayor, the chief, and the director.
So how it happens, I understand. The chief and the director make a recommendation to the mayor, and the mayor can act on it if he pleases.
Correct.
That's the process to affect the promotion. Who is identified for promotion and who is identified to be hired and how they're identified are very different than who gets promoted and how. And that, if you had read the Wayne policies, it speaks in depth into testing and other measures so that the best and the brightest get promoted. And I certainly don't want to move into a issue where we have to rice people and discuss specific examples, but I'm more than happy to, provide feedback on my observations if you'd like, or if anyone would like.
So just there's a couple of things here with this. We have 1.5 people. It's new. Is this something you can say, let's start with a half a person, see how it works? Take a full next year, or 2 half-paid people? I mean, because it's a lot. All of a sudden, I get 1.5 and $75,000. And I understand they're going to be involved with schools, which I think is great, especially now. And how they're going to be shifted, I don't know. So do we?
It's going to be traffic enforcement by the high school in the morning and afternoon, by Washington School, plus it details within the day, doing the school walkthroughs, traffic enforcement throughout the town during the day. Doing a half and a half, it's going to cause problems as far as covering the 2 posts, especially in the afternoon, because they're both at the same time. They're both 3 o'clock in the afternoon, Washington School and high school.
The other thing too, and I'm not sure if council is aware, but in the history of the Washington Township Police Department, we've had SLEO 1s and SLEO 2s. In fact, when John and AJ and I were all hired, at that time we had 2 SLEO 2s. Up until about, I want to say 10, 11 years ago was the end of
He passed away.
the SLEO 2 program. So at one point, we did have 2 of these officers, one full-time and one part-time, and it was for quite a bit of it. And just going back to what the chief enumerated, I think we do need the 1.5, but we definitely at least need the 1 because there's 2 times that Washington school post needs to be covered. We're going to train them to do that. And essentially, and it's in here, Bob, I'll pass this paperwork over to you. We're looking at putting that officer, CO officer, on a 9-hour day with an hour of unpaid lunch so they can cover 2 different posts at 2 different times with some training at school, safety initiatives in the middle. Again, all the training that he would need would come in that middle time, and they would, again, be able to do traffic enforcement, they would be able to do court security, they would be able to do park checks. They can help pretty much with anything. And what they can't do is go out of town. So they could transport prisoners within town, but not out of town. So I think we have a good amount of responsibility for them where we can keep that full-time guy busy, and I also think we need the part-timer. But if we
Well, the part-timer would eliminate the
the school.
Well, the
Yeah.
overtime at the
Yeah.
school, at the high school, because they can't be at both, so you'd be eliminating the overtime of an officer being there, we put a sleeve.
That's one of the main reasons, trying to get rid of that high school post for the full-time officers and save on overtime.
Correct.
I mean, it's cheaper with the SLEO than putting one of us out there on overtime.
Okay.
yeah, we
Very
So
cost
40 and
effective.
35,000? I'm just doing the math, is it 40 or 35?
The full-time would be 52,
52?
because as per ordinance, they get $25 an
25
hour.
an hour.
But Bob, just to go, you had mentioned before that you look at the budget in its entirety. Going back to the overtime line item, we had mentioned the number there. Part of what accounts for the reduction in that is not just the contract negotiations, but also the hiring of the SLEO.
just as a, and again,
Dispatch too, right?
Correct.
dispatch.
That's what the,
What line, where is that?
it's 240-120 is the first page. The reason.
We're not
for-
discussing that line, but
Yeah,
yes,
okay.
it is,
But I just wanted you to know that
there is a
there was a-
reduction there.
You have any idea what the overtime specific to covering the high school is?
I can give you, I'd have to actually look it up, but ballpark would generally fall in the neighborhood of low end 13,000, high end 17,000, average 14,000.
And the part-timer would make it about 22,000, we're saying, 23,000, right?
Part-time,
Right.
yes.
So that's almost a wash there, 10,000, but Bill's doing other stuff there.
Absolutely.
And are they hired as employees of the town? So do they
Yes.
follow town policies, vacation?
No, they're appointed yearly.
They would not be subject to the CBA, so therefore benefits will be covered by the town's handbook, but the rules and regulations for the PD have to be followed by them.
So vacation, do they get?
They would get what municipal employees get.
Okay, all right.
Gentlemen, are we okay with this line item, 193?
I'm fine with this.
You're fine with it?
Yeah, I'm
Mr.
okay.
Cumming, are you okay with it?
Yes, sir.
I think it's a good investment because, the one officer will be in the schools doing safety checks and
Yep.
walkthroughs, and I think that's needed in today's society. Hate to say it,
Without
but
a doubt.
we need to have it.
Mr. Allman, are you okay with this?
Yes.
Mr. Allman, yes. Okay.
I mean,
Mr. Bruno, are you okay with this line
I'm
item?
okay with it, I prefer to see one person to start with. I mean,
Yeah, we will be starting.
We're gonna
we
start.
can budget it, but I think when, I don't know what happens if everybody runs around with it, but, I think to throw 1.5 people all of a sudden, I don't know if it's the right thing or the wrong thing, but
Well, I think you guys are going to go half a year with one, and then the other half to come on.
We're going to start
So-
with one because there's a training
So,
element to it.
so there's the 75 to 52, so does this reflect a full 12 months?
Correct.
So then we can bring this number down?
Yes,
because it's not-
since we're not starting
Right,
January
so can
1.
we figure out what that should be?
Yeah,
Wanna
and can I
reduce
just,
it
if I can
to
throw this
50,
out?
50
Well,
would
they
be,
can figure one.
If they start, say, April 1st is maybe a little bit optimistic because,
So they say May 1st.
all right, I did the numbers with April being optimistic, so you're talking about, that would be 39, a little over 39,000 for the
Let's just say
full-time.
40.
40,000, about half that, of course, for the 20-hour part-timer.
So we okay with
about
the 60?
60,000. Now, there are certain times, and I don't think there's going to be a lot of overtime for those SLEOs, but if they did work overtime, it's not going to come out of the police overtime budget, it would still come out of that direct SLEO line, so I would say we need to budget 60,000, but
65 would be.
maybe we can go 65 and then if
Mr.
the
Bruno, you
guy
okay with
gets
making it
over
65?
I'm just trying to understand it, Mike. It's not the number. So in the summer, there's no school.
Right.
So then what?
Some
Traffic control,
Traffic control.
other details,
And
mainly traffic control.
now, summer is also when our manpower is at the lowest. So they can supplement the tour, but
Because of vacations?
vacations and stuff. But just to be clear, I don't want to misrepresent. If an officer's on vacation and we're at minimum staffing, we can't give another officer off and then replace him with the SLEO. There's actually state law that says the SLEO can supplement your kind of your minimum. So essentially, we would want to have 2 police officers on the road, and then this SLEO would be the
And
3rd.
these are promotable into police officers down the road?
Yes.
With a waiver program.
There's a waiver program.
We actually did that, in the past
What's the
4
waiver
years?
Yeah, one of the officers, one of our recent hires was a SLEO
10
too.
days.
It's 10 days,
Yeah.
Just in the back for 2 weeks.
2 weeks, and that's it.
So, gentlemen, Mr. Mayor, you okay to making your request 65,000 as per
I am.
Captain Skinner's?
Yes.
Bob, you okay with reducing it to 65?
Yeah.
All right, gentlemen, let's move on. Police stipends, 901-25240, 195, 1,050 requested, 1,050 budgeted. Are we okay with that?
Are these contractual?
That's by ordinance. That's the corporal stipends. They
If
get-
the 3 corporals, they get $350 stipend. Corporal position.
So it's contractual?
Correct.
It's actually in.
It's
It's actually.
ordinance.
It's
part
in
of
the
the-
ordinance.
ordinance. It's not
They have a rank and,
within the
Yeah, it's a
ordinance.
rank
for
and
file or whatever it is.
TTO, the table of
The table
organization.
of organization.
Thank you, that was the, what I was looking for.
Okay.
Police
And it was
chief,
up there, it didn't come out.
police chief salary, 901-25240, 199, 180,964. Requested, the same amount budgeted. Are we okay with that, gentlemen? That's a 1.5% increase.
Yep.
And that assumes a like replacement?
Well, that's budget for the entire year, so there's more than ample room to make the appropriate promotions.
Are we okay with that, gentlemen?
Yes.
Mr.
Yes.
Bruno? Mr. Dr. Casio?
Yes.
Police office supplies, 901-25240, 210, 3,500 requested, 3,000 budgeted. Are we okay with that, gentlemen?
That's the request, I'm
You guys
okay.
okay with
It should suffice.
Okay.
Reuse your paper clips, please.
And we do.
We do, and
Actually, I go upstairs and get.
if you need
the
some, a
leftovers.
couple buckets.
Okay.
it?
Police postage, 901-25240-2200, 0 requested, 0 budgeted. Police subscription and books, 901-25240-240, 200 requested, 200 budgeted. Are we okay with that, gentlemen?
Yeah.
Okay?
Is that a good number?
Yep. Police dues, meetings, and conferences, 901-25240-250, 3,000 requested, 3,000 budgeted. We okay with that, gentlemen?
So I would just like to understand what the increase is, because last year, with all the departments around dues meetings, training, all these other
They can explain
expenses,
that very
you
easily.
know, who's going in?
That's for the command staff to go to the League of Municipalities meetings down in Atlantic City, go to the chief's conference down in Atlantic City. Years past, we were never allowed to go.
So then the question would be, is it enough if, you know,
Well, no, we would not all go, obviously.
I think it's enough to get us,
Get us started, and we
For
can
this year.
figure out where we stand with it this year, then
So this is like a trial year to
Yeah,
say, hey,
try-
maybe next year somebody else should go
try and
because.
figure
Yeah,
out
'cause
where
it's
we
a new
stand.
thing.
Alternate a little bit.
Then next year, figure
Okay.
out what exactly we need.
It's like, last year was all dues. Bergen County Police Chiefs Association, annual BC Chiefs Association, these are all dues.
A lot of it's dues.
Membership dues,
Right.
NJSA cop membership dues.
Okay. Are we okay with the 3,000,
The
gentlemen?
increases for the conferences now that they want to start to
So the
attend.
dues stay the same.
Dues stay the same as to go to the conferences, which we never
So
been allowed
2,000
to.
for conferences.
3,000.
Well,
The dues
1,000
are
for
national,
dues.
too.
Yeah, and then 2,000 for
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
yes.
901-25240-270, office equipment repairs, 250 budgeted, requested, 0 budgeted. Are we okay?
How do you feel, gentlemen?
Are we okay?
We just had, we hadn't used anything in the
We
past
haven't
4
used it in the
years,
past.
so
Also, so we want to zero the request
Yeah.
also?
So
Is that okay, Mr. McNair?
that's what we were thinking. yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Police mileage, we're going to eliminate this line since it's been zero for all these years, right? We can eliminate it?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep,
We
it's
haven't
gone.
used it.
It's gone.
So this line is gone, so line 280 is eliminated. Police copier expense, 90125240290, 2,000 requested, 2,000 budgeted. Are we okay with this? This is contractual, right?
That's
The copy
contractual
machine?
with Rico, yes.
Okay. We okay with it, gentlemen?
Sure. Increase? We get an increase?
Not this year. It's
No, but I mean,
for the
for
life,
the
it's for the life of
extra
the contract of the
But it was
unit.
16, we're going up to 2,000.
Is it a new contract?
Just out of curiosity.
When do we,
342.
No, it's not in the contract, but we do pay when we go over the max amount of copies, and we do foresee going over.
With all the training,
Double side?
things like that.
So,
Double sided paper.
Bob, Mr. Tovo,
Yes, sir.
for years, one of my biggest pet peeves was that we never really centralized and consolidated all our copy machines. So they pay for overages, Sue pays for overages, everybody pays for overages. And I've asked to try and consolidate this whole program,
And we're looking at
figure out
doing
what it
that.
is, and then some of these things disappear. I mean, it's a couple $100,000, but when you add it up on all these departments,
Agreed.
it's just ridiculous. I think they run to each different department in the past because they don't want to go over, so.
part of the, our copy is also the network printer. So all the terminals within, our building print to this one printer also. So when guys do reports, people come in for copies of reports, open requests, you name it, everything gets printed from that one Rico printer.
It's not just a copy.
That's
It's
the
not just a copy.
that's the copier contract. So it's an extra
Getting there.
$400.
My opinion is yes.
Yeah, your energy management system needs to shut off.
2 degrees. Well, I don't have it, that's why I
No,
need it.
you're
No, you're in.
You're the energy management
Oh,
system, Mr. Cox.
Isaac.
All right, gentlemen, we're okay with the copier expense?
Yes.
Police furniture and equipment, 90125240300, new chairs, 3,000 requested, 3,000 budgeted. Are we okay with that?
We were-
All new chairs,
We
6
entire
chairs.
needed
Yeah,
chairs,
entire
but
needed
most
chairs.
of
It's
the
not all new
chairs.
chairs, it's some new chairs.
Some new shares, yeah.
For this year, and then possibly more next.
So
Yeah, I got a donation from the library.
It's a cheap and ineffective system.
That was 2 years ago.
That was a year and a half ago.
They're falling
Those
apart.
are wooden chairs.
I got a wooden
Yeah,
chair,
know,
I got a lot of
I
stuff at the
remember
library,
for a while,
that
the
was,
last time was-
They're solid wood and they're starting to fall apart.
I think
So,
that,
does this include that?
basically, it's for the offices right now.
No, I know, but the
And
kitchen is where
dispatch
everybody
area.
sits. I mean, the last time I was in there, you had a mishmash of everything.
Well, now we got it from the library.
with the library, it's definitely, it's gotten better.
So
Listen,
this
I'll
will
tell
be
you
the
that.
help, this will be a start like
Be a
we
start.
had last year.
And I think honestly, if
Thursday, if
we
approved.
could
they have to
prioritize the office
prioritize
chairs,
it.
because they're the ones that are a little archaic. And if we get the office chairs replaced, maybe next year we ask for kitchen chairs.
Okay.
So can just,
I never been in the police department.
backing up a little higher level, last year, you brought to the attention a lot of issues in headquarters. Have those all been addressed, and is there anything new that needs to be addressed that we should consider here?
I'd say collectively, most of
I
it's
think,
really,
I think
Yeah.
90%
majority
was
of it's
taken
been
care
Yeah,
of.
what we brought, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
That was.
and thanks,
Housekeeping is clean, the floors are
Yeah.
repaired.
Exactly.
yeah.
So now with the chairs being repaired, that's another item off your list. Well, some of it off, not until next year we buy more chairs.
The floors are all replaced upstairs, downstairs, the walls were all painted,
Yes.
Your interrogation room was in?
that's all in.
Yes,
That's all camera and everything
And the
now.
last time I was in there, I looked at, I actually had pictures, I looked into the other day, before your wiring down there, I thought it was disastrous. Is that
In
the
which spot?
All your computers, well, you showed me a room with all these computers and wires that looked like,
That's the
you got a lot of
red-
ice and water that was
yeah, a
coming
lot of that
out.
was a telephone room.
That was telephone
Okay,
room.
so that's, okay?
We've gone over that.
Is that telephone and IT?
Yeah,
Yeah,
That's all
we're
tech.
working on that with the IT provider to clean that up.
it's pretty nasty.
But also the water
The
intrusion.
water intrusion was all taken care
And the
of.
water intrusion stopped, right?
Stopped
It's been corrected.
with the corrections.
All those
that we
front
had outside the
screens around the
building.
building.
So it's
solved the
working, so you haven't
problem.
had water with all the rain we've had.
Knock wood.
So wiring is safe down there. That was my concern. It was just that-
Yeah, once
Safe
the
from
water,
water.
yeah, safe from water.
Okay. Police advert,
Well, I would propose, if we're going to do the chairs, if everything else is done, how much more is it to finish the furniture or finish the...
Like, how many more chairs do you need, is what you're asking about, right?
I
Is
mean,
it
if
5,000 worth?
they put
Is it-
new floors in,
We need a kitchen.
You have to, not chairs.
The kitchen needs to be tackled as a whole. That was on the original
And
list.
honestly, I mean, as long as you're saying that, we have donated furniture in the interview room, the table's too big. Yeah, climb over to get to your, you know.
I mean,
So
I'm
we
of the
could
opinion,
use-
we leave it at this level, but over 2 or 3 years, we may not change it, and that way, the budget stays stable as opposed to taking a big spike.
They still
But
need a
that-
kitchen though.
Well, I think it's workable,
It's serviceable, but it's reaching the end
yeah,
of service.
so I would
life,
see,
sure.
but can you get another year till next year's budget out of it?
I would
I
confidently say
think
yes.
so, yeah.
Yeah.
is it I don't want to mischaracterize, is it a break room or is it a functioning kitchen? Because I know you're overnight, so is there
It's-
cooking facilities?
It's a functioning kitchen, it's got a microwave, it's got a little stove in there,
Stovetop, no.
refrigerator, arranged top, 2 burners. Plus, there's also a work area.
Does that get used very much?
So we have
The
2
stovetop.
kitchens in this building.
No, because it's,
I was gonna say the same.
You're the one interested.
It's in the room, that's such a multi-function room, that room is the catch-all.
Yeah, Thomas is there.
And so again, we're talking about the table that was donated, that room gets hard use, it's not just there for eating, it's there for doing reports, it's there, it becomes.
And a little bit, we want to review space requirements this year also, and so some of that may change, and so again,
Space allocation,
yeah, I'd
yes.
rather leave this,
Yeah, it's like a dog.
again, my opinion, leave it flat. Do some next year after we've done that space realignment.
If you give more, we can spend it.
Well,
But
so-
if we want to phase it,
Yeah.
it's my job to ask for it,
So-
it's your job to tell me what you said, we have to phase it in.
So the only thing I would say is to come up with a realistic proposal to redo it, bring in new cabinets, new appliances, configure the furniture that's efficient, and
Well, do we have any insurance money left, Bob?
Yeah.
Not a lot.
Not so much, we burned through a lot of it with the
I know we went
floors
through a
and-
lot with the floors, but
Yeah.
is there any money left?
Yeah, that's funny.
What's that?
And,
I don't think there's too much left.
yeah,
Was there 10,000 left?
It's not, it's
It's got
21 years
10,000.
old.
I'm not positive.
So you're gonna-
And it wasn't-
Excuse me.
I'm sorry, Joy mentioned it to me the other day.
No, I'm hearing 10 people at once, so
Oh, okay.
can you?
I asked him,
I'm
if there was
sorry.
any insurance money left for the kitchen rehab, so maybe we could look into that and then get back to the subject. But let's approve the 3,000 as it is.
Sounds like a good winter project.
okay.
Let's investigate, and
If there's insurance money left, then that's what we'll use it on.
that's done.
Okay, advertising, 0 requested, 0 budgeted for 310. Police interpreters, calibrations, item 901-25240320, 2,000 requested, 2,000 budgeted. Are we okay with that, gentlemen?
This is AT&T.
They come and calibrate the cars, certified as speedometers,
You don't know.
so you write,
That doesn't include the breathalyzers, we're gonna get new ones, right?
We don't pay for, they don't pay for that.
Okay. Police radio expense, 901-25240360, 4,000 requested, 3,500 budgeted. Are you okay with that?
So is this, are these contractual maintenance? Because I know we're looking at upgrading the entire.
right now, this is partial the service contract through Goose County, and it's also money in there for fixing radios that are no longer covered by contract.
Okay. And the hit of 500, you're okay with?
We're in the process of trying to get, we're doing the testing right now, and all the radios have to be replaced.
So we're okay with the
We're hoping
3,500 budgeted?
We're gonna do the bare minimum repairs.
Bare minimum
We're gonna switch
until,
over.
okay.
All right,
All right, we okay with the 3,500, gentlemen?
yes.
Police trading, 901-25240370, 9,000 requested, 9,000 budgeted. Are you okay with this, gentlemen?
Just to clarify, the actual for 18 is much closer to the appropriated once all the bills were.
So it's closer to 7,500,
It
okay.
is.
It is state mandated, you said, right?
A lot of trainings are state mandated. There's also other trainings the officers go to that do cost money, especially if they're out of county. And even some of the county courses, there are private vendors that are doing it within the county, then they charge a fee.
We okay with this number, gentlemen?
So this
Is
is
this gonna
essentially
cover it?
more training than you had in the past? or is it just?
Yeah, we
This
had
would
very-
definitely be more.
Very little training in the
Yeah.
past.
I mean, if you look,
Fine.
I'm
moving
just
up,
saying, I'm just comparing.
Zero.
I can see 750.
Well, I'm glad to hear, well, I'm glad to hear Mr.
Right.
Tovo's comment, because last year we gave him the 7,500, which they've
And I
never had
just
before, and they basically used it, which is
spent
great,
it all
which is
up.
what we said.
Marvelous.
That's marvelous, so you got $7,500 worth of training, which you've never had before, so it's great.
And just one last question, is,
They had $45 worth in
are
2017.
45 in 2017.
are these,
Dollars.
are many of these recerts, or is this new certs for different officers?
it's a
Combination
little
of
bit of
both.
both.
Okay.
Yeah.
But the bump would be for new management leadership
Management
training
leadership
as the
training.
Department of Officers.
Perfect.
Perfect. We're okay with the 9,000, gentlemen?
Yes.
All right, police chief uniforms allowance, 901-25-240-390, 1,000 requested, 1,000 budgeted. We all right with that? It's an allowance, it's just going back
I
to
think
them.
the 1,000 for 18 maybe just didn't hit the books yet.
That's
Yes.
contractual.
Right.
Okay, police safety equipment and uniforms, 901-25-240-400, 10,000 requested, 10,000 budgeted. It's hiring of an officer to replace the retiring chief, in addition of 1 to 2 SLEOs. We okay with this, gentlemen?
The uniforms are not inexpensive.
Oh,
That's true. I'm good with it.
18.
With old shoes.
I'm okay with it.
You okay with it, Dr. Casio?
Yes.
Mr. Allman, Mr. Bruno?
That's the cost, right?
Yeah, I mean, we've run into problems past years where, dispatchers,
I mean, that's
shirts.
Wasn't the chief gonna leave his uniform?
that's 3 officers.
We got to find someone who fits.
We gotta get him sized.
Hire the right dispatcher.
You don't get the job unless the uniform
That's
fits,
it,
man.
yeah.
The equipment that they wear. I-
Do you have, so in the winter weather, or the rain, do you have standard high-vis, standard waterproofs?
We do.
stand-
Meets the,
And
Everything
that-
meets ANSI
everything meets
requirements.
ANSI qualifications.
And is that paid for out of this, or how do you come?
The initial
about it?
issue was
would
paid
get
for
their
out of this. And then if officers, they were initially issued the raincoat or the traffic duty coat that's ANSI certified, if that then wears out, then they take that out of the money, that's, that they get paid out of there.
That's their responsibility.
Allowance that was rolled in.
Okay,
So initially you get your stuff and then you're required to maintain it.
okay.
So unlike most departments, you don't get an annual clothing allowance. You get your initial issue and that's it, right?
Yeah, but I don't want to,
That,
Yeah.
there's a contract.
many years
It was
ago,
rolled in.
Provision in the
it was
contract
rolled
for
into
that.
It's rolled
the
in
salary.
years
In
ago.
other words, we gave it, but how do we give it back? We rolled it into the salary and then no longer get it as an allowance.
Correct, you purchase your
So
own.
there is no allowance.
There's no allowance, yeah.
After you get it one time, you
Correct.
buy it yourself. the next time.
Correct.
All right.
All right, police oxygen and fire extinguishers, 901-25-240-410, 1,500 requested, 1,000 budgeted. Are we okay with that, gentlemen?
Is that enough? to keep me-
Are you gonna be able to
I
cover it?
wouldn't want to
The
skip
only-
on oxygen
the only
and
thing
fire
with-
extinguishers.
Well, we only spent 780 last year, so I guess that's why we lowered it.
Problem is, you never
It
know.
varies,
It
right?
depends how much
You
you
never
use.
know how
Just
many
find out.
options, how much you're gonna use as far as fire extinguishers or
Okay,
hotel.
we're optimistic.
Listen, I never increase anything. I would go to 15. I would say.
You should be
Still
aware
better
that our supplier
Would you
did
like
raise
that?
their price $2 a bottle now.
I would
So it's
like that.
$12 a bottle.
Dr. Cassidy, you'd like to make it
I would-
1,500?
I never do it, but
Okay.
this is the one time I think it's
So we're gonna
important
make line
investment of
410.
$500.
Mr. Bruno, Mr. Allman, you okay with making it 1,500?
All these expenses, it says refills.
Right.
Yeah,
So
they
is
get,
this a refill or a new?
Refill.
You bring it in,
They come, they pick them up,
they pick it
and
up.
they refill.
and I assume if the
Refill
bottle's
and
bad, they
certification.
exchange
They-
the bottle, right?
Right.
They
Well,
test,
they don't actually fill the bottle here.
Right, they take it.
They take 4
Right.
and bring us 4.
Yes. So,
Okay. Are we okay with with Dr. Cassio's
Yes, on the
request to
bottles.
make it 1,500?
couple of
And
years.
they track that.
5 years, I believe.
So they track it.
Yes.
So if the bottles go
They
out-
certify the bottles.
Yeah, after 5 years,
Are
they
they-
have to be.
Are they our bottles, or do we contract with them for a standard?
Exactly. It's
Okay.
contracted for a standard. We don't own the bottles.
Okay,
Like you're renting them.
Oh, we don't.
okay, all right.
Okay, so that's part of it.
That's part of the cost then.
Okay.
We do on the fire extinguishers, though.
Yes.
Yeah, they
Okay.
Those
fire
we do
extinguishers, but the
Are
oxygen
they
bottles.
certified, all the fire extinguishers, when they come?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. I know Mr. Scuderi had issues with fire extinguishers being from 2000,
Yeah,
not certified.
we're all up to date.
We're all up to date.
Yes.
The
Yes.
ones in the buildings are covered through GAM from the DPW. These
Right.
are the ones we have in the police cars and then we fill them and put out as well.
Gotcha, okay. Police equipment maintenance and
So
licenses.
we made it.
We made it 1,500, yes, gentlemen, right?
Thank you.
Nice.
Yes.
Equipment maintenance and licenses, 901-25-240-450, 3,500 requested, 3,500 budgeted. Just, they spent about that last year, gentlemen, are we okay with that?
So these are a lot of extinguishers here, you have to, too, because, is this the same program?
That's-
We don't know, we own these, or we?
Fire extinguishers, we own.
We fill 10-pound extinguishers.
Yeah, we own the,
Hydro test.
yeah, we own the extinguishers, yes.
Okay, so that's all, everything.
Yeah, they go up to a state lane fire and safety.
So I have a question. When, only because I live by the flashing light and I got to see it firsthand, a major accident, and the officer, went into his trunk and pulled out a medical kit. So how is that maintained? And is that here?
The medical kit itself, how it's
Yes.
equipped.
To keep it current and to, if you use gloves and bandages and whatever, I don't know what you're qualified to administer, but how do you, if you are there and you have to refill it, how does that happen?
Do we have a-
Typically, we've gotten it from the ambulance corps.
Okay.
We
They've
actually discussed
given
this
us
last
stuff, but
year.
we talked about
We've
this
never
last
really
year.
budgeted for it, and we're getting it from the volunteer ambulance corps.
We should have a budget for it, but,
So
We just
I,
got rubber gloves through the 1033 program.
yeah.
so I would propose that, we either,
Do we add 1,000 to this item or
You
to
don't think you're
oxygen?
getting from the fire department?
No, and
Most of them,
Ambulance corps.
Yeah.
medical,
Yeah,
bandages and
Bandages.
stuff
In
like
other words, we use an oxygen mask at a call, we'll actually take one from the ambulance corps, they know we're
that, to
taking
replace
it.
it.
Yeah.
They actually restock their own, so yeah, we're basically stocking our medical supplies from volunteer.
Yeah, that's
ambulance.
all the town. We don't.
So it might be a Westwood ambulance.
No, but I'm
you
just
know,
saying, we
different
don't,
towns.
we give the money for.
Do any
trucking
of those
for
have
years, but that's it.
expiration dates that it helps us to centralize it in ambulance to keep them flowing, for you
Well, they
guys
are
to draw
flashing.
off of?
Supply.
Things like glucose or stuff like
Mhm,
that, sometimes
yeah.
the tape and the bandages you have, if they go too long.
Yeah.
In the heat of the trunk.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But things like masks and bandages.
Mm-hmm.
And we've had no
They
issues
carry
with the,
indefinite shelf life.
they haven't asked for a payment or
no,
anything,
no,
so.
no.
Okay. We're okay to move on, gentlemen?
I just
you want
think,
to put some money into it? If there's something you need.
We had discussed last year
Yeah,
exactly
and-
that.
We did actually, yeah, last
Creating
year
an
we talked
additional
about-
line item for medical supplies, and I think speak collectively, we appreciate it.
I mean, be aware of the one thing that they will not supply us with is defib pads, when we use them. For the
Defibrillator
defibrillator
pads.
Defibrillator
pads.
pads.
So we gotta buy them.
Those are disposable, so once they're used.
They're a one-shot deal. So as we use them, I have to order new ones, and I usually take that out of miscellaneous.
So there's a line other equipment
$75
here for 200
Just
bucks.
75
Why don't we
bucks.
just increase miscellaneous and then you
It's
guys can draw,
240, 490,
you can draw out
200
of those.
bucks.
And keep track of how much in
That's what,
next year's budget, yeah.
because if you don't need it, why put it in a particular line item?
Right.
Yeah, so put it in
So I
miscellaneous.
would put it in miscellaneous, I'd say another $1,000.
And like
that
the
should be
defib
enough
pads,
for-
that's.
All right, well, let's,
Defib's probably run, what, like $60 a
This
set?
is 75 a head.
Oh,
And believe it
Per
or
pad
not,
or per set?
per set. And the pediatric pads are about 100 and something.
Yeah, they're not cheap.
No, 'cause you gotta cut them back.
So I would ask to.
when we move on, one more line, Dr. Castle, we'll get to your budget. So we're at 470 for police printing, 250 was requested, 0 was budgeted. Are you guys okay with that? Other equipment, 200 was requested, 0 was budgeted. Under miscellaneous, 6,500 was requested, 5,500 was budgeted. So do we want to make that 65 and give them their request? And then
Why
therefore,
don't we put it in other equipment so we
You
can
can
see
keep
what they
track of
spend versus miscellaneous, which is who knows what's in that one.
we'll be able to track it from the invoices.
It's all in the same control,
Yeah, it's-
so a little bit,
yeah.
6 of one, half a dozen.
490.
They need it for something else, I'd rather have.
Yeah, I'd rather leave
Yeah,
it
give them
miscellaneous.
flexibility.
You can pull where you need it from.
So based on Dr. Cassio's comment,
No, I'm just trying to see, track how much they spend.
yeah, but we'll be able to track,
Well, this is all car washes, psychological evaluations, fingerprints. It's a lot of this.
You only have a couple of vendors you buy your stuff from anyway, right?
Yeah.
Lifesavers, Z-Medical, that kind of thing.
Correct.
yeah, so we'll be able to track it that way, so it's not a big deal. So we're gonna, Mr. Mayor, are we okay to make your budget 6,500 here and add
Yes.
the medical to that?
Yes.
Gentlemen, are we okay with that?
Yeah,
For
No,
line
that's
item
fine.
500?
I'm not,
Thank you.
no, because I propose we add 1,000, but to Bob's point, I think it's easier to track and monitor, and since they're not spending it otherwise, after a while, we could convert it to medical and have a line that's manageable, because,
So you want to make 490 1,000?
Listen, unless we
Yes.
sit here and look at this, which we don't want to do every year, to find out how much we actually spent for this, so put it in this account, it sits there, and that's it.
So why don't you
Then
just
we only have
change,
to look at this.
why don't we just change where it says police other equipment, make it police medical, and put it there?
So 490 is going to become police
Yes.
medical?
Well, we just put it in there.
Yeah,
Well,
so
you
we're
said
gonna
you just
change-
want to do
Yes.
it so it's easier to account.
Yeah.
So to make it medical, make it
So we're going to make
medical.
it medical, we're putting 1,000 there. Mr.
Correct.
Mayor, are we okay with putting 1,000 in your 490, which you had 0?
Yes.
And making it police medical instead of other equipment?
Yes.
Okay.
Change the title, Judy.
Yeah, we can change that. Police miscellaneous,
Yeah, that's great, thank you.
901-25240-500, 6,500 was requested, 5,500 was budgeted. Are we okay with that, gentlemen?
yeah, as long as,
Well, we put the 1,000 in medical, so.
no, I know, but that, I don't think the 1,000 hit was for the medical. So
It was just looking at the past 5 years that they hadn't approached anywhere near the
I have a question.
budgeted in the past couple.
Chief, are we paying for all psychs out of that, or is that just the one this year? 'Cause
That's the one we took it out of this year. With the new guys, it'll probably come out of there also.
Okay, so I'm
That's
just
really
saying, there may be a need for additional psychological exams. and
Yeah, for the
hiring
two, yeah,
process.
yeah,
So
for,
there- I'm sorry, there's a $1,200 fee for a physical.
right, that's down at Hackensack Medical Center.
So the two
That's
sleeves
where that
are gonna
comes
be
out of
done?
there too.
Yes.
Yeah, the 2 sleeves will have to get that.
So
So
that's
that's 2,400 right off the bat then.
1,200 for the physical?
Hmm?
1,200 for the physical or for the,
For the physical,
for the psych?
for the physical. Because they do a stress test on them also. It's a 2-day exam down there.
We had the flatbed, the Hummer.
the psych is $450. So it's $1,650.
So that's 3,300 just for the two. So that's 3,300 just for the two new officers. So that's going to be,
We're in from Pennsylvania.
Right.
you know, you only got 2,200 left.
We brought that.
Okay.
Mechanically more.
So
I mean, should we put that in medical also to take it out of miscellaneous
Well,
then?
medical, I think we want to keep it just supplies.
It sounds like a lot miscellaneous that should have its own category.
Yeah, it should be in some kind.
Yeah.
Where we should put it with the safety equipment and uniforms, so we know that when the
A new
hire's not
hire.
there, the number goes away.
Got hiring expenses or anything?
No, there's nothing in
Yeah, so I think maybe it somehow got miscellaneous because it's something that happens less frequently, could be a couple of years in between.
Should we create a new line item that's just for new hires that would have the uniforms, and that way, if we put a number and say 3,000 covers uniforms, medical, psych, we know if we're gonna hire 3 people,
Yeah,
there's a new line item maybe.
the 2,400 to, I don't know who made the point, because we're getting uniforms, there should be a correlation, so should it, I mean, I'm indifferent either way, but probably should strip it out and capture it somewhere. So is it up in safety equipment and uniforms or another new line,
We're due to delete 240, 280, so we could just repurpose that as new hires.
240, 280?
Yep, we deleted that. Yep, that was mileage. So we make that new hiring expense and put the psych evals and the
uniform
and the
costs.
uniforms and all that in there.
That's
I think it gives a much better picture of,
So new hire expense
New hire expense.
and any other uniform would go to that, the regular uniform.
So how much money we put
The
in
only
there?
other uniform expense beyond the initial outlay is if a piece of equipment is damaged in the course of doing your job. If your coat gets ripped because, it got caught on something during a call.
Sure.
So
Chief, do you code your bills? Who codes your bills, you?
So 1,200 plus
So when do you look at
450
this and code
You
it?
need 3,300 just for the psych evals and the.
times 2, 33, and then the equipment using the newest hire as a,
Are we doing 2 on that or 3? Because the part-time SLEO would also need all those things.
We're doing 2, 3,300 for the physical and the psych eval.
Are we anticipating the replacement of the chief? So that would make it 3 for this year? Well, 2 SLEOs and a replacement for the chief would make it 3 new hires.
Well,
You have that
If you-
uniform, don't you?
you have to
Yeah,
have it for the chief because we get someone from inside, they have a physical.
No, in other words, like
You
if,
can't even go there.
if that's the bottom,
Can't
of
tell
the
the
chief
understand.
leaves,
I got you.
and the whole
Okay.
number
Sorry,
goes down.
Yes, I agree. Gotcha.
Let's,
Is everything included, uniform,
so 30,
sites,
yeah, 3,300 is just the two medicals, physicals, and the 2
Suicide
psychs.
test.
So we have to put in 280, at least $3,300, so.
and we remove the uniforms over for new hires, probably ought to call it 12,000 plus.
so,
Just I'm thinking out loud, I apologize. Would it make sense to do this line item for the psychs and leave uniform with uniform? Only because then we would, because this psych.
We could call it new hire medical expense. You could just call it new hire medical expense, Mike. So this way we could track it that way, right? And put 3,300 in there, or 3,500, just to have a little cushion in there, and then move on.
Great. Are we anticipating, again, we're anticipating 3. Both SLEOs, the part-time and the full-time, would need those, plus the replacement for the chief by the end of the
So
year.
you'll need 5,000 in there.
Yeah.
The only issue with this, if you're anticipating that you have 3, and I'm sure we're not gonna have a huge turnover in the next 3 or 4 years, right? So now you're creating a whole line just for
1 year.
1 year.
For a one
And that's
time.
senseless, so, because what
And
happens
you can
in
just look
5
at the
years,
bills and say,
it'll fall
it's
off.
this much, yeah.
It'll fall off.
Yeah.
Why do that? We're trying to
Eliminate
eliminate
items,
line
yeah.
items as opposed to adding. I understand you want to track it, and I understand that, and it's important that you do track it, but in the long run, if it's like a 1 or 2 time shot, it makes it more difficult when you do
Because-
budgets years down the road.
The one thing I will say with regard to that is the SLEO program,
Mhm.
a lot of SLEO officers are officers. They're
Become
trying to
regular.
become regulars.
Right.
And so you could hire one, he gets hired somewhere
Right,
else,
sure.
and now you have to replace him. So yeah, I know what you're saying about, we wouldn't be anticipating many more retirements over the next 3 or 4 years, but we might lose SLEOs to regular jobs, so we
Understood.
would have to pick up those same expenses. I hope not on an annual basis, but it's
It's just
conceivable
a
that.
But if we just leave it, but if we leave it in miscellaneous, we'll be able to tell, like we are now, that you went to HUMC, and got a
Right.
physical,
Yep.
and
It's all-
just,
it's all
and just do
gonna
a
be
little
there.
spreadsheet and pull it out. and it's
When I
all gonna
started
be there.
9 years ago, we had almost 92, over 100 pages, I think.
Wow, so you eliminated a lot.
We cut this down a lot,
Okay.
so I don't want to go
this,
the other direction.
this is,
That's all.
this is a roadmap, just like the architect has a plan, just like, you're traveling somewhere, you have a map. This is a financial roadmap, and you could put everything, we could put everything in miscellaneous, have one $13 million miscellaneous, pay everything, and sort through it to figure out what's what. I think for financial transparency, if you have a line that speaks to a new hire, it's something you understand.
It ties out to what it is. I mean, it's so
I think
difficult
from the
to-
police perspective, they don't care as long as they get the money. It's more a council tracking device.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
And it doesn't matter if we don't use it for a number of years. We don't have to drop it off, and we know we're going to need it someday in the future, leave it there.
It is something I would say historically, every 4 to 5 years.
I guess the biggest question is the 6,500 that was requested, and Mayor asked for 5,500, do we make it 65? Because we know we have these expenses.
So why don't we assume we're starting a new line that is new hire expense? And what would that be? So we know it's 3 heads?
Figured 33, you gotta build a little cushion onto it.
It's $49.50 for 3 people.
49.50 for 3.
For,
Make it 5.
5
Just
per
for the medical clearances.
for the medical clearances.
clearances.
Then, if you look at the uniforms, there's a uniform which we may not have to do for the police academy, which was $1,400. There's a uniform for initial uniform, which is $1,800. So we're not going to have the 1,400 with the SLEO for the police academy?
No, because they're already to be pre-certified.
Generally not, but I think part of their police academy uniform then becomes their initial issue. So in other words, when you spend that $1,400 to send it to the police academy, some of it's paying for a T-shirt with his name and his number on it that he's probably not going to wear again on duty. But as far as his initial issue, like he has to go there with his gun belt, that'll be covered. So I don't think you're eliminating the whole 14, is what I'm saying.
Okay. So, I mean, we can make the new line just for the medical, or we could strip out the new hire anticipated in the equipment and move it up there. If it's just the medical, it's the 5,000.
I think the medical makes, I'm sorry, you
No,
guys are the council.
that's fine.
I didn't tell you how to do it. Like, to me, the medical makes sense.
Okay.
I guess.
You are the management. We are supposed to follow you.
So I'm fine with it, renaming one of the,
So we're gonna
make
rename
it
280 new hire medical expense, right? 280 is gonna become new hire medical expense.
Okay,
We're gonna put 5,000 in there,
okay.
right, Mike?
yes,
You okay with that?
yes.
Bob, you okay with that? All right, so 280 now has $5,000 for medical expenses,
And where else?
which are gonna come out
Miscellaneous.
of miscellaneous, right?
Well, I don't think, but we're not reducing this by 5,000.
Well, miscellaneous, that's a lot of miscellaneous.
Yeah.
Miscellaneous is a lot of stuff.
A lot of car wash.
So the mayor's recommending a
So mayor, so
$5,000.
leave the mayor's recommendation of
5,000.
5,500 on 290. On 500, excuse me. Are we okay with that, Joe?
Okay.
5,500.
55.
Can we just go
5,500.
back to the new hire one, we're doing 5,000?
5,000.
On the mayor's
Final number.
recommendation for the vet.
Yes.
New hire. Okay.
And then for 901-25-240-500, we're making it 5,500 as per the mayor's recommendation. All right, moving
Are we
on.
still adjusting 240,490?
240, 280 is being made new hire medical expense.
Right, and
We're not touching
No,
490.
that one.
Not touching
490 is going to stay,
Yep.
gonna be zero?
No, it's going to be 1,000 for
It's gonna be
the
1,000.
medical
Okay.
supplies.
That's
That was
what
my
we added.
question.
Oh,
Okay.
okay, yeah.
It's becoming a
Okay,
hospital.
Medical supplies, okay.
We get a deal with them, right?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah,
And the gas, are we using BP gas then?
We
We're
just,
gonna
today,
see.
we just went over to
don't go
the
into the
county.
county.
Okay, good.
All right, police, guns and ammunitions, 901-25-240-540, 13,000 requested, 13,000 budgeted. We okay with that, gentlemen?
Yeah, my only,
That's their number.
the only
Yeah.
question I have is this adequate for the ever-changing, so is this just ammunition, or do we purchase firearms out of this?
Strictly, that's
We
an
have
issue.
enough firearms, it's just not even to cover the wires.
Okay.
Shotguns and everything, we're good in the backs? I think we spoke about like your
Yeah, we just replaced 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would you do anything with the 1033s with those?
No.
See, just, weapons with 1033 become a little difficult, because there has to be,
They don't become
like a
ours.
whole, and honestly,
They're on
Control.
loan.
yeah, and we'll talk to, there's actually, we'll come to you after budgeting is done, but to obtain vehicles now, it used to be just like military-style vehicles,
Right.
Hummers, needed a special resolution.
Right.
We're actually now going to need to do a resolution if we want to get, say, like a pickup truck, probably do need it, but we'll go over that.
Okay.
I don't know if you want pre-owned guns anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Police, other equipment
Especially
rental?
military ones.
Yeah,
right,
Yeah, you
You
can
just sit in their box.
true.
Yep.
So the
Mike.
13 is okay.
You missed traffic light maintenance.
Oh,
Bob.
police, traffic light maintenance and repair, 901-25-240-550, $7,000 requested, $5,000 budgeted.
Is this the
Ah,
God
bless
bless.
you.
Yes, sir.
Yes, it is.
That's the control box at the
That's the
corner,
control box.
Washington, Nebraska.
If you can find it.
Yeah, well, last time it took them half a
Missouri,
month to
you got Missouri.
On eBay, right?
You can take the Hummer and run it over.
Don't laugh.
What's the prognosis of the intersection?
Design is moving
It's looking
along.
good.
Very good.
Yeah.
Spoke to John Ukimic the other day. The county, him and, they're setting the right-of-way acquisitions, correct, Mr. Mayor? I think that's the next step.
Correct.
They're working with the new applicant that is trying to take over the Helen Baum property, or however you say it, the wine wedding shop. So they're working on that acquisition with them, and hopefully it's progressing. More has been done in 2 months than in years, so.
And is this, the 5, is that all contemplative for the intersection, or are there other
No, that's just maintenance
That's-
of
It's
that
just
box.
repair.
That's,
It's
God
that
forbid,
Anything we do, there will be a
somebody
Band-Aid.
clobbers that light.
Emergency
We
fix.
don't, so we gotta fix it.
A year ago, I think, you had mentioned that we have no barriers around
No,
the
there
box,
is none.
and that's something that we looked at possibly
You
doing.
mean bollards?
Yes.
I don't
The
know.
pipes in the gr-
Big
pipes in the
steel
ground.
poles that don't knock the box down.
Yeah, they're called bollards.
Yeah, so we don't have any bollards. So is that expensive?
I have no idea, sir.
There's liability,
Yes.
there's liability logistics with that, Mr.
We're doing nothing.
Bruno?
there.
They're at
They're
least
not-
500 apiece.
We're not putting bollards up our
That's the
county
box.
road. Yeah.
So I would,
Of several.
I would say that if this went down, if the box went down, Judy, could we tap into capital to do the repairs?
Usually not repairs, capital.
Okay.
Especially if the light's on its way out.
To fix that,
All right.
It was out a long time
Hey,
ago.
we've been crossing our fingers a long time.
If
right?
the
So
light,
We have
if
temps.
the light goes out, if
We
the
have
lights
temps.
go out, we can
County
go
has
rent,
temps.
we can go rent temporary traffic signals
Yeah.
from a company. I could have them out here within 3 hours. I could have them set up and running better than what's out there now. So, I don't think that's an issue, Mr. Allman. I think it's just a matter of let's not have it happen because it's a waste of money. That's
Okay.
all.
All right.
Police, other equipment rental, 90125, 240, 250 requested, 250 budgeted. Are we okay with that?
Any idea what that is?
Why don't you move it somewhere, so small?
That used to be when we had the diesel generator out front. The company that put it in was charging us for the wire that ran from the cable, rather from the generator to the transfer switch. And that's where that money came from.
To Bob's point, you want to eliminate it and add
There's
miscellaneous?
somewhere else, and it's ridiculous.
Especially if you didn't spend it last year. You know, so we
Well, we added a lot of money in the other items, so we could just, if it's okay, we'll zero that one out and we'll
I
call it
think
a
we're
buck.
okay with
Are we
that.
okay, gentlemen, with zeroing that one out? So we're gonna zero 560. Range rental fees is being eliminated, it's been zero for years.
That falls under a different one.
Correct, but we're gonna
Yeah.
remove that line, so it's
Okay.
gone. Police computer software, 90125, 240, 810, 8,000 requested, 7,500 budgeted. Are we okay with that, gentlemen?
No. So are we still using the scheduling software?
Us,
Yes.
yes.
And
That comes under a different line item.
so we paid for it here. Are we maintaining
It's
it?
gonna
Yeah,
come
that's
out
a
under,
yearly.
on the leasing then later on.
Okay,
There was an initial setup which was paid out of there,
okay.
but now it's just maintenance. It's
And-
basically the lease.
And the MDS that you
Power
spoke to?
DMS.
Power
Power
DMS,
DMS.
excuse me. Is that what's contemplated for this line?
Yes.
For this year? And you spoke to the big benefits of it. Does that 7,500 cover it?
Yes.
And everything else you need?
Yes.
Okay.
We okay with that, gentlemen? 810?
Where did you put the maintenance of that software? Somewhere else?
Under lease.
There's leasing,
Okay.
yeah.
Police computer supplies, 90125, 240, 820. 6,800 requested, 6,250 budgeted. Are we okay with that, gentlemen?
What's the increase?
There's a big tech support for 2,600.
That would be Dart Computers.
Yes. They're going to continue?
You didn't get rid of them, did you?
We're evaluating other options.
So at the moment, it's 5,200 for the year,
Right.
without anything else.
Can you live with that number?
Can you live with dogs?
It's being discussed.
No, we did this last year. On our end, I think we discussed it and changed it. Right, Peter?
We discussed it, but we chose not to change it last year with a lot of other things that were being changed. It was just, you know,
For year two? This
No,
all-
no, they don't.
We changed them.
Yeah, oh, for here, DART doesn't, yeah, DART only does the police department now.
Okay. So we're okay with the 6,250, gentlemen?
6,250,
All right.
Right.
Police vehicle leasing, 90125, 241,000, 5,000 requested, 4,800 budgeted. Is that contractual leasing numbers? Mr.
Yes.
Are we okay with that, gentlemen?
Yep.
Well, I have to ask.
Mhm, yeah.
Thank you.
Police telephone maintenance contract, 901-25-242-000, 6,500 requested, 6,200 budgeted. That's a contract, right, Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
We okay with that, John?
When do the leases expire on the cost?
February and March of next year.
Of
And-
2020?
Yes, sir.
And you contemplate turning them in and rolling them, or do we buy it out?
We may repurpose at least one for another department. And the other one, we're not sure of just yet, but
That's the dollar buyback ones.
no.
No, they're not.
No.
These straight up
But
leases.
we'll look at it as it gets closer, but
All right, we okay with that, gentlemen? Maintenance contract, we're good. Police dispatch desk software licenses, 14,000 requested, 14,000 budgeted. These are contractual licensing
Yes,
agreements?
that's with the Bergen County Prosecutor's Office, KML, which runs our 911 system.
So that's a
Yeah, it's
contractual?
all contractual prices.
All right. Police community policing website, 901-25-244-000, 2,500 requested, 2,500 budgeted. Is this a contractual agreement with the vendor or something?
Oh, it's just essentially our community policing budget, and if you'll see, we did increase community policing budget last year.
Did a good job getting almost to the number, 23 cents away, that's pretty impressive.
right? Yeah, this also covers like the coffee with the cop
Ironic.
program.
Yeah, right, the
and-
big part of this increase was coffee with a cop.
Yeah, it's very good community.
The town.
In Edwards, this is a locked cell. You can't
You have
change the
copy
number.
traded.
Oh, you can't?
We actually wanted to go up 500, but it was.
We have trading cards that were made up, and we hand them out
So
to
we will
kids.
find it.
That
And
comes
if they
out,
collect all, yeah,
yeah.
We're gonna
Yeah, they
do
were
the council next.
What is my
Council
little guy, the only one, my little guy's missing, I think, the Chiefs card, that's the only one that's missing.
That's like
Gotta get
getting
That's
Darth Vader.
Oh, I didn't say that, oh, they're talking about stone tablets here, I don't know about that.
So just a question, the policing expense, I think, is good, but the website, I know you have.
that should be taken out of that.
Yeah, the website shouldn't even, we don't actually pay for the website.
So we can eliminate this website on here on 000?
There's no website expense.
There is no website expense.
Captain Skinner, you.
So then
Somebody
2,500
came.
Yeah.
is out.
He approached us.
No,
Yeah,
2,500
we,
stays, the website description
Everybody's
comes
got
up.
lunch or anything?
Yeah, so,
You guys gave him a black.
he's actually,
All right.
he lives around the corner from you.
Okay.
And he did the website for free. He had actually reached out to me on LinkedIn and we
Yeah.
discussed it. And we actually did take him to lunch. We had him here in council.
Yeah, I
We gave him an award. He's really been a big help.
So
Okay.
do you need money to keep that maintained? I know he built it nicely, did a nice job with it.
Right now, most of the maintenance, we actually, our officers are maintaining it. I have a couple guys that do it, so.
All right. So we're just gonna, I guess, Judy, if we could take website off that line, please. Vehicle acquisitions, 901-255-245-000, 117,500 requested, 117,500 budgeted. Increase due to new model of the Ford Explorer being introduced in 2019. New equipment may have to be purchased or current equipment retrofitted. Are we okay with this, gentlemen?
This is just one vehicle.
Two,
You get two every year, don't you?
yes.
What do we do with the two old ones?
Two of them in other words, they get repurposed to the back of the fleet. They do like construction details, special details. And as you can see, the 140 Crown Vic sitting out there waiting to go to auction. And once
One was given to the road department.
they're past their useful life, because nobody's going to want them.
Okay.
Yeah.
How many miles, so how long does it take a frontline car to be new to the end of the line?
Probably 3 years.
All the way to the end of the line, is in gone.
Yeah.
Gone.
Longer.
Gone.
Probably
Depends, 4 to 6 years.
4 to 6, could be up to 6,
So
7.
basically, your frontline cars are 1 to 3 years old, new to 3 years old?
Yeah, generally not more than 2 years old, based on the 2 per year replacement.
Okay.
There are 4 cars that are generally considered frontline cars.
Did we talk about taking the old, no, the equipment from what you're not using and put it into the new one?
Problem is 2020, both Chevy, Ford are changing the cars inside and
It
out.
was a redesign, so.
I mean, they're changing the sheet metal on the outside,
The specs.
they're changing the interiors in the cars, so you could have a problem with cages, prisoner transport seats. This stuff's not gonna fit in the 2020 cars.
All right, we okay with that number, gentlemen?
It's collusion between the manufacturer.
Yeah, for sure,
Every
yeah.
couple of years, yeah.
Yeah, built-in obsolescence.
Police car cameras, 901-25-245-001, 6,000 requested, 4,500 budgeted. Are we okay with the 4,500, gentlemen?
You want to cover it for how many cars?
It's 6 cars, file server, and everything else. I had,
That's a server we have that,
No,
This is the actual camera itself.
this, each car has their own camera system.
Right.
Then there's the internal file server strictly dedicated to the patrol cars, to the car cameras. So when the cars pull into the parking lot, they download automatically and do it via microwave. And that's where all the stuff is stored, separate from the regular in-house system.
You're saying for this number, that's just the camera itself?
It's a Band-Aid number
It's
because
the Band-Aid, as Bob said, Band-Aid number. I had the guy from Mobile Vision in today. All the stuff is anywhere between 5 and 7 years old. I can't get
projected for next
extended
year's
warranties on them anymore.
So this will be a capital item for next year to
For
replace all of
capital, it's gonna give me a quote by the end of the week.
them? Okay,
Replacing all the stuff with the upgraded stuff.
all right. So 4,500, we okay,
That
gentlemen?
stuff we spent on the
Yeah,
last
just
car.
one question. Have you, has the department contemplated body cameras?
We,
We haven't, well, not that I was.
it's been discussed, there's a few problems with body cameras. Your body cameras run, way more actually than your car cameras do, so a lot of departments are running into big issues with storage, just the data alone. There are body cameras being used in New Jersey, but it's limited because it's a very complicated policy of essentially when it can be used and when it's an invasion of that victim's privacy. So there are departments using them, but they're kind of slow to come in to New Jersey.
it's not mandated yet.
It's not mandated, and our kind of, it's funny because we discussed this, Glenn and I, with the guy from Mobile Vision, and it may something that does eventually get mandated. But right now, I believe that we have pretty good coverage because most of the events that we respond to, we're responding in a car. So you have video from the front of the car at least. There's a camera that goes out the back into the seat, and then you have audio on your chest. So we're generally covered. I think body cameras would give us more coverage, but it's a complicated issue. It's an expensive issue.
Understood.
All right, police computer software leasing, 901-25-246-000. This is the Power DMS.
No, that's my
No,
mistake.
this
Oh, that's a mistake, okay, so delete that line. 17,000 budgeted, 17,000 requested. Are we okay with that, gentlemen?
That's where you gotta put your POS scheduling.
All that's going in here, okay.
Also the enforcers, which is our.
All your
RMS
annual
system.
maintenance
Records management
things.
system.
Okay, John, we okay with the 17,000?
Hold on, I just want to check. Sorry. Oy, 24600. 24600. So
You guys are approved. Go.
it's 11,000 for enforcers,
This year's 11,750.
and next year,
That's for 2019, it's 11,750. I just got the bill.
okay, and then the other part is the,
POS,
The new scheduling system.
POS scheduling system.
So it's 11,750 and the difference for the cost?
POS is based on the number of employees, so when we hired the new SLEOs, we got, tell
Add
POS.
them to it.
And it's onto our site
It's gonna be,
license.
yeah, not a
So
lot.
5,250, 5,000, what was the cost, 5,000? That's what comes to 17,000.
Probably just a hair less than that. I don't have that bill in front of me.
do you know what the run rate is on the Power MDS?
DMS.
DMS, so I'll get it eventually. After we purchase it, do you know what the run rate is for maintenance?
You got it right. Oh, I got it.
If you don't have it, I mean, it's not,
Is it per license, AJ?
Per
employee?
Like a per employee thing, yeah.
I have it somewhere, I
It's
believe I
like
have
0 to
it.
50, 50
Okay.
to 100, like something like that.
when you do find it, just so we know,
I have the
because,
quote.
we're
It's
making,
roughly the same, right?
we're making the investment up front to purchase it, and then there's a run rate to it.
Initially, it's 36, 76, and then... They're wrong, yeah, so it's 36, 76 recurring.
all right, that's not too bad.
Not
Okay,
for what we're getting.
We okay with that, gentlemen?
yes.
All right, police range rental, 901-25-248000, 10,000 requested, 10,000 budgeted. Are we okay with that, gentlemen?
And those are the only two options, or the most reasonable options, Paramus and North Arlington?
Yeah.
We okay with the 10,000?
Yes?
Police reverse 911 system Swift Reach, 3,500 requested, 3,500 budgeted. Is that a contractual number, gentlemen?
Yes.
Okay.
So, can I just ask a question?
Sure.
Do you have to subscribe to that to get the call, or do you have the ability to contact every, at least landline?
No, the person has to subscribe.
So this is subscribed?
Yes.
You can subscribe on the town website, on the
Yes.
police website.
So you won't get notified if you're not subscribed.
Correct.
Do we have the ability to add a note in the tax bills or somewhere that it's available to them?
I think we had that.
Upstairs in Sue's office.
All
there's
over.
a thing.
It's on the website. I have
It's everywhere.
notes when people come in. I ask them.
We have it on the
We also put
website.
out
I think it was on the bulletin board
last
too
year.
at one point in
Do you know
time.
how
The
many,
bulletin
do you know how
board,
many
too.
people we have, or numbers?
And
You
we
can
should
read
announce-
Glenn.
Wasn't as many as you could think.
Can we do a PSA about it next meeting?
The last time I heard it was.
Yeah, I mean, it's,
I think
It's
it was under
increased. We've
300.
gotten.
I know that we
last
added
year.
some, because I thought Rio spoke to Sue, but
Yeah, Rio and I have
we
been
could try to
working on
promote
this.
it a little more.
We'll have a PSA at the next mayor and council meeting, Mike.
Yeah.
if That's
All
okay.
right, yeah, I think it's great.
We'll put it
I
out.
do have one question. For listed numbers, like in the directory, we can actually do that through Swift Reach, right, if they don't sign up? Or am I
You would have to
incorrect
pay
on that?
Swift Reach to suck it into the system. They wouldn't, they're not gonna do it for nothing.
It's something that needs to be
We'll just make an announcement next meeting,
Yes.
if you guys can prepare
Make
something.
it a note on
What is the criteria to use this out of curiosity? Like what, I mean,
Generally,
sometimes we get complaints that, things happen and nobody knows.
Well,
bigger emergencies, generally we try to use it a lot for traffic closings, road closures.
Correct. If we know we're gonna shut down a road for extended
Yeah,
period of time.
sometimes people complain that they don't get notified. We did have one incident where we changed the setting, and
Get
we were
notified
getting
too much.
notified, we were getting notified like every
6
hour.
hours.
I don't know if you guys got those for, I think it was a pending snowstorm, and we were
Yes.
getting
Yes.
snow updates on your home phone, your cell phone, and
But
that is where we get.
the electrical stuff, then when that goes out, that doesn't, we don't get notified.
No, that's typically
No.
PCG.
that's PS.
But we do have a link on the website where you can go to Public Services website and see the outages, so I'm hoping that helps.
Suez has it, all the utility
Yeah, all
companies have it,
utility
you gotta
companies have it
register
on
just like
their
you do for
website.
Swift Reach.
That's right. It's truly a matter of getting that information out there and make it more usable.
Yeah, so is that something that you can use this to say go on the PSHU website? Because what happens is everyone complains.
It's 2019.
And even I call trying to figure out what it is, but you guys don't know because they don't tell you. So
Yeah.
if there's something that says,
Disseminate.
hey,
You know what, and if we
power's
put-
out, call PSHU.
If we put, I like that idea, Bob, because if we put, please call public service for the information, that's going to prevent people from calling the desk and having us say, we don't know what about.
No, it's not.
No, it's
Wishful
not.
thinking.
Maybe a few, maybe a few.
You're the path of least resistance, they're always gonna call.
Police dispatching, salary and wages, 901-25-250-200, 200,000 requested, 200,000 budgeted.
That's how many people?
Right now, 4 full-time, 1 part-time, and another part-time coming on board.
So we're talking 4.
6 people.
4
4 full-time, 2
And
part-time.
And 2 part-time.
2 per diem.
2 per diem.
Per diem is how many hours?
As needed.
As needed.
As needed.
Yeah. They only get paid by the hour, and
Stop that.
they fill in for the
So you
full-time.
guys all qualify?
Yes.
Correct.
How come, what's the, I mean, that's a healthy jump. So where did we,
Last year, we went from not having a full-time
Yeah,
dispatch.
we didn't budget the whole year last year.
okay, so
And they had no benefit time.
is this closer to our ongoing run rate?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, this,
Absolutely.
hopefully, this should pretty much be the ongoing
Yes.
run rate going forward.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this should be the amount of people times what they make, plus 2 halves per diem.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
Soon, right?
Yeah,
That's what you guys budgeted?
yes.
Okay, we okay with that, gentlemen?
These are all benefit people.
The 4 full-time.
4 full-time, sorry, yeah.
And
Per diems
no contractual, or they contractual?
They have their own.
PPA?
No.
They're under
No,
the
no,
town.
they're under the
Under the
town,
town.
so,
They're municipal.
Okay.
All right, gentlemen? Okay, thank you,
thank you.
Police Department.
Yeah, thanks for your time.
Very much.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Mr. Bilius, Chief. Fire Department Director, 90125-265-110, 1250 budgeted, 1250 requested. We're okay with that, right, gentlemen? That's a,
What page we on? Sorry.
oh, 32.
32.
Right in the middle.
Okay.
No, we should reduce that?
Can't reduce it, directors. Oh, okay.
He's here.
Oh, yeah. I
Sure you
didn't,
didn't even notice it.
police took so long that I forgot how time it was.
Just a serious question.
They're not allowed tonight.
Do anything, but is an employee eligible to collect a director's fee?
I don't think there's
Different job.
anything that restricts it, but
Okay.
I'll certainly ask just to double check.
Right.
Yep.
No, absolutely, yes, as long as it's not the same job.
Right. Mhm.
Okay, then,
Okay.
Purchasing Clerk, 90125-265-120, we're going to remove, eliminate, because it's no longer, it hasn't been funded in years. Fire Department Office Supplies, 90125-265-210, 400 requested, 400 budgeted. Are we okay with that, gentlemen?
No.
Sure.
We're on.
We're at 90125-265-210.
Bottom of
Office
page
Supplies.
32.
Bottom of page
Okay,
32.
that's what I was looking
Did
for.
Yeah.
you get them, your office supplies from a year or 2 years ago? I mean, there was all kinds of stuff you needed on the desks.
Office equipment, we didn't really go crazy with, the office supplies,
The office
yeah.
equipment, sorry.
No, we ended up getting, I was able to get some stuff free rather than spend the money, so file cabinets and that, I'll be getting my hands on my own, so.
All right, so we okay with the office supplies, 400 requested, 400 budgeted, gentlemen, for 210?
You guys are okay with it?
yes.
Fire Department subscriptions of books, 90125-265-240, 100 requested, 100 budgeted. Are we okay with that?
Yes.
Fire Department dues, meetings, and conferences, 90125-265-250, 1,500 requested, 1,500 budgeted. Are we okay with that?
Yeah,
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Mike.
no, I just had a question. So do you go, or how do you fund, like, you go to the convention down in Wildwood?
Wildwood Convention? Yeah.
Do you fund that through your dues, or? I
Well,
mean, not-
because the chief and then there's the delegates that are signed. We're the only ones really that are required to go. We get reimbursed from the state to go
All right.
for that. This covers our dues with the Pascack Valley Firemen's Association. That's primarily what comes out. That's $1,200, $1,250 a year for our dues for the association.
Would it be beneficial to
So
have?
did we not pay our dues last year?
No, they're too.
No, actually, surprisingly, we were the first ones to do it. That's why we don't know why, when we discussed it, we had asked that question. Our
So would
check
it
was-
get billed somewhere else?
Yeah. So you have meetings and conference, the Pascack Valley Firemen's 250, then the Pascack Valley Firemen's is in office equipment. I'm sure if we could keep going, find the, oh, there it is, hold on, it's in training.
Okay.
So, this year we'll categorize it all in the right place.
At least it's on the fire department.
Okay. Fire Department office equipment maintenance.
Can I, hold on?
Oh, you got more?
No, I don't have anything on that. So Judy, on this, again, we're looking at how much the dues are. We paid the dues. They're in, so far I found 4 different accounts. Why, I have no clue. But, so can we just, you know,
Yes, like I said, my answer, the only thing I'm thinking that there wasn't enough in the line item, but
no, we had enough, I think. What do we have?
We have 1,500.
1,500.
I don't know why I just was charging for it, I have no idea, but
Okay, just.
Okay.
the new person is getting a lot.
We are doing that every day, checking and double checking
Yes.
where it's being charged.
Fire Department office equipment maintenance, 90125-265-270, 150 requested, 150 budgeted. Are we okay with that, gentlemen?
Is that okay?
That's a very small number.
I'm fine with that.
Thank you.
You know, to the fire department's credit, they're going very light on their operating, because you know there's a big burden in capital. So,
Understood,
thank you for
but-
that.
Thank
So
you, guys.
Yes, thank you. But the question I have, again, going back to Bob's point, office equipment maintenance, we have a fire vehicle part, and we have a SCBA fit test calibration.
Who codes the accounts for the fire department?
I
Do
will
you
make an-
guys, or do we?
I will make an example. When we did the big repair on the tower ladder, the cylinders, that big giant repair.
Right,
After we put it in, we found that was charged to uniform and safety equipment
okay.
instead of being charged to the repairs. So that didn't come from us. We submit the recs. It was being done up here. I won't lay blame, but
So
yeah.
Judy, you have more control over this now, so it'll be hopefully,
Like
Well,
Bob said,
Judy
we
and I,
were
we're
looking at
working-
everything and with Dina.
They're easy to find
Dean's
things-
being trained
There's
up
coded
almost every day.
Typically, they were coded where they were previously.
oh,
Now,
so,
we're checking to make sure they're appropriately coded.
gotcha.
$250 is not a big number, so.
150, 150 this year. Excuse
Okay.
me. Fire Department office furniture and equipment, 901-25265-300, 1,500 requested, 1,500 budgeted. Are we okay with that?
Sure.
Fire Department radio expense, 901-25265-360, 2,000 requested, 2,000 budgeted. We okay with that?
Is that workable, gentlemen? It
Yes.
seems light, but
Well, you only spent 1,500 last year.
God
I
bless.
would think same for the police department with the new radios. We're
Yeah,
coming on
we're gonna just get
board.
'em.
We're just getting through the bare minimum on the old ones this
What
year.
about pagers, though? I mean, are the
Not
radios?
part of here.
Pagers, yeah.
We're not gonna
that's-
fund pagers this year if we're gonna change radio systems.
I think Mike's about to say it's coded there, maybe.
I'm afraid.
I'm not gonna just fund it in the past.
I understand that, but
Doing
do we need to account for it? So radio expense, 2,000, life support on the radios, but we also had pagers in there. So if they're somewhere else or we're not doing it, I guess I just want to make sure the 2,000 is enough for what you need to do.
For what, to keep us running for the, yes, especially, like I said, we're looking at this new radio system, rather than go crazy with it. This is enough to keep us going.
Okay. Fire Department dispatch services, 901-25265-365, 2,000 requested, 2,000 budgeted. Are we okay with that, gentlemen?
What's that exactly when you say dispatching service?
That's that's our e-dispatch or cell phone dispatching services along those lines.
Okay.
What is that, a contract? Member manager?
Yes.
And that's, I don't
That's
think,
the
gonna
e-dispatch.
that's not going to be enough. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm looking at the wrong line, yes.
No,
I was looking at
that
the line below it.
should be enough with a little cushion
Yes.
if it goes up to it, because we pay
Per user.
twice a year.
Yes.
All right. Fire Department training, 901-25265-370, 1,000 requested, 1,000 budgeted. Are we okay with that, gentlemen?
Yeah.
Okay.
So you pay it to the Firemen's Association, they run the training for you?
The training could be, our dues cover that with the Valley Firemen's Association, with our mutual aid groups. This training would be going to other academies, bringing in instructors. Everything we do with Bergen County Fire Academy is free. So, but if we go to Paramus Life Safety Complex, if we go down to Bergen County EMS Training Center, that we have to pay something out of pocket. The CPR training, we have to give money for that, for the cards and the trainers and that, so.
Okay.
Fire Department uniform and safety equipment, 901-25265-400, 10,000 requested, 8,500 budgeted.
Is this turnout gear?
No, this would be actual turnout gear is a separate line, this is our uniforms.
How does that sit with you? Is that okay? Can you live with that?
Station, plastic burn kits, vertical storage, fire department, hydro testing.
I don't know about the hydro testing being there, but that was the upgrades we made for the, we never had an eye wash station in there, we didn't have, we upgraded the first aid kits to get the building into compliance.
Vertical storage, is that your fireproof thing?
That was probably, could have been the explosive cabinet, yeah, the fire cabinet for the paints and that, which we never had before.
Are we okay with the 8,500, gentlemen?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Yes, sir.
Fire Department, oxygen and fire extinguishers, 901-25265-410, 2,000 requested, 1,500 budgeted. Are we okay with the 1,500?
I'm sorry, going back to the 400 line. There's not one uniform in this line, so do you need uniforms?
There should have been uniform, we bought,
Down D&E, or is it
D&E, we bought, I think, 5 uniforms, usually we get about 5 uniforms a year.
275775?
Yeah, there's one amount. No, the gasoline on Fury.
Yeah, it
It's the
says,
same amount, 2757,
oh,
75.
that's deleted.
Maybe he's not
Okay.
something
No,
else.
it's-
Okay. All right. Sorry, Michael. 85 is good.
Okay. Fire department, oxygen and fire extinguishers, 2,000 requested, 1,500 budgeted. Are we okay with the 1,500, gentlemen?
That's what they need. You guys need it. 15 good?
Is 15 good? Have you been using a lot lately, or?
No, we used $707.
Yeah, 700, it's,
You don't have,
Okay, right.
All right.
you don't have medical oxygen? You don't,
no, we don't carry medical oxygen.
okay.
I don't think we've had it for about 15 years plus. We used to carry an old tank we got from them, but
Okay.
Don't need it.
I mean, you never spent over $1,000 in any year going back. 1 year, you were 1031.
15, yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Then you're 99, 9, 7.
Depends on the usage of the extinguishers.
Yeah, it's just,
Thankfully, it's been slow.
good. Fire department, building maintenance and supplies, 0 requested, 0 budgeted for 420. Fire department, building maintenance, 901-25-265-450, 6,000 requested, 6,000 budgeted. Are we okay with that, John?
You selected your own cleaning service, or do we?
It'll be a few
no,
years
we
before
had
get a new
the
building.
cleaning company coming in once a month, and it's,
Well, that's cleaning, right?
We found it was
just wasn't working out.
too tough.
Yeah, scheduling. and-
We were having scheduling conflicts with the vendor. They weren't coming when they said they were coming, and we couldn't get somebody there when they decided to
They can't
come.
be in there by themselves.
It was just, yeah, it was just,
And then if they were there, and somebody else, one of the members were there, they weren't doing the offices because those members don't have access to the offices.
Are we okay with that number, Joe?
Yes, sir.
We're cleaning.
we're still cleaning it.
Fire department, equipment purchases, 901-25-265-490, 2,500 requested, 2,500 budgeted. We okay with that, gentlemen?
Which number are we on now?
490 on the top of page 34.
It's on page 73, the detail. Equipment purchases, batteries, and you guys using a lot of batteries.
Batteries are our biggest, AA's and AAA's 9 volts, because of the newer Scott packs.
Okay.
We burned through those like crazy.
And so, again, I understand we're looking at it prospectively. Refill of Scott bottles, that should not be in there, I'm assuming. Replace a valve assembly, well, that could be. I mean, this is equipment purchases. There's a Zodiac repair. I mean, again, I'm,
The boat needed, it separated from the rigid hull.
Oh, it did?
Yeah, so I made it several trips down to Cape May to bring the boat down to the Zodiac repairman.
so,
There's only one Zodiac repairman?
Two.
And he's in Cape May?
We found two.
One was in Cape May, the other one was
Maine somewhere.
up,
yes.
getting close there,
Maine
getting up
or
in that area.
Massachusetts.
For heaven's sakes.
Yeah, a true, that actually repaired the hull.
Certified to do this
Right,
kind of...
everybody else was just salesmen.
Thank you, I'm
Nobody could
sorry
do
to
the
slow you down with that question.
So the only thing I would say is that we spent $2,500 last year, and of that 25, 7 and 6 is 13. 13 of it was for Zodiac repair and Scott bottles. So, you know,
What line?
Equipment purchases.
265, 490. You had you spent to the max 2,500, but within that 2,500 that you spent is 510 for Scott bottle refills, 200 for replacement valve assembly, and a total of about 600 for the Zodiac repair. So,
And if I can make a suggestion, everything that we're seeing was miscategorized, is all under the same control. So let's allocate the same net dollars, and then this year it'll be tracked much better for us to reallocate to the proper line items next year, if everyone kind of agrees with that concept.
I noticed that there's not a repair line
No.
item.
Right, there's not.
So I don't know if you want to make another just line item for repair.
Well, I think equipment purchases and repairs are, I mean, I would like to see them.
Two different animals.
I would like to see them separated, but, you know, I mean, again, if it's going to be used, clearly we spent it. The Zodiac may not be a recurrer, but, you know, if 2,500 it is, but we should really think about
Creating
purchases
alliance.
versus repairs.
Okay.
Do you want another line item?
Not that the batteries are big numbers, but you use a lot. So is this something that in this building administration can just, you know, you have 30, you're buying 36 at a time, 36 packs? I don't know how many you go through in a year, but I'm sure a lot. So is this something that, do you go to Home Depot? What are you guys going to Home Depot?
I believe it's Home Depot. That's the best price I think we've gotten so far was Home Depot.
It is?
I believe so. I think this Home Depot was the one we were using. We tried, who does the office supplies?
WB.
Mason, we tried them. We got prices from Batteries Plus and Paramus, and it would seem that we were doing the best through Home Depot. But
Is
with,
Battery Plus fine?
I like going there because they actually have
Yeah, everything,
everything.
right.
You
yeah.
bring in a battery,
But
no
they
matter
are a
what it
little
is,
higher
they
just
will find it
because
for
they
you.
specialize in batteries, so.
I mean,
they're
just for Scott
slightly
Pax
higher.
alone, but we,
They're not just batteries.
if you look at it, it's almost 70 batteries for all our packs, just to replace them once.
What size is that?
It's a mix and match. We used it, they take two 9 volts, they take, I think a couple double A's, they take a couple triple A's. There's a little bit of everything.
Okay.
Because with the pass alarms, with the gauges in the regulators, so you can see how much air you have, plus we have 4 packs set up with the cameras in it. So the infrared cameras are actually set up in the mast. We bought them through Terry grant money. So everything takes batteries. And like I said, every couple of weeks we're burning through them.
Fire Department miscellaneous 901-25-265-500, 1,200 requested, 1,000 budgeted. We okay with that, gentlemen?
What are we looking at?
500 miscellaneous. Fire Department inspection and chief's dinner, 901-25-265-560.
Did you say 500 or 1,000 miscellaneous?
1,000.
No,
The line item was 500.
500,
Okay.
yes, we see
Whose
that.
line item was
Gotcha,
500?
okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
Fire Department inspection and chief's dinner, 901-25-265-560, 10,000 requested, 9,000 budgeted. Are we okay with that?
You went
Beautiful
this year, right?
dentist.
You didn't go the year before that, I think, right? You did. You didn't have a chief's dinner 2 years ago, did you? Yeah, we did.
2 years ago was Adam's dinner, and then last year,
Oh, okay, right.
no,
This year we had.
yeah. And then this year we had the awards installation. We combined everything rather than doing it on the first.
And you tend to use town vendors? I see Food Town and,
Oh, yeah.
okay, where you can, where it makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
Moving on.
Yes.
Yeah, we, Town and Touch, Food
Spread it
Town.
around.
Well, we tried to get some stuff out of ShopRite because one of our members works in ShopRite.
Oh, okay.
They promised us all this, stuff, and
Okay.
they never came through, so.
Fire Department hardware and parts, 901-25-265-60, 1,000 requested, 1,000 budgeted. Are we okay with that, gentlemen?
Hardware and
Yep.
parts.
What we buy.
Who's Worth?
Worth is a company that we got, they actually supplied us with the nuts and bolts. No, they were the nuts and bolts, that was the one Kevin got. A lot of the companies that will have like the racks in their mechanics room, they actually supplied us with a free rack, and it's filled with all nuts, bolts, washers, is that company.
Okay.
Really? That's great.
Fire Department clothing allowance, 901-25-266-000, 45,000 requested, 45,000 budgeted. Are we okay with that, gentlemen?
That's a given, right?
That's the max exposure, correct?
Yeah, I think that covers us with a little cushion as well in case we had gotten any new members or anything.
Only because we were significantly under that, I would say, last year. 37 to 45.
I don't know what we had for last year. When I spoke to Joy, that's why, the last time we submitted it, Joy had recommended to bring it up a little bit, so we had a little bit, but
I mean,
Take it down a little bit.
well, only, so,
Because we didn't spend, I mean, it's $8,000 for the last 2 years. It's been sitting there.
Want to make it 40?
You better go 42.
42?
Just look at your high.
You expect-
Yeah, the high year was
Expecting
41.
new?
well, that's my question. So
actually, we just brought 3 more on,
Okay.
so,
So maybe another
membership
41
revenue.
year, so maybe a 40, because 1 year you went up to 41,000, so it was the high year.
Why don't we just take 2.5 out? Make
So
it
hold
42, 42.5.
Is there a maximum amount of fire department members
Personnel.
you would have?
maximum number by ordinance is 60 members,
60?
60.
6-0, right?
Yeah, so that's,
So you're close to that now.
so that's the 40,
You're getting
so
there.
that's 40, plus there are some additional stipends in there, I guess, for assistant, chief.
Yeah, the officers get the additional, mechanics get additional.
Okay.
So what, you do 60 times 675 plus
Yeah.
that, so 45 is the number.
It'll be very close.
Okay, so we'll leave it at 45
Yeah.
now.
That's the max exposure if everyone qualifies.
Fire prevention maintenance trucks, 901-25267-000, 10,000 requested, 10,000 budgeted.
What's it, PM? That's preventive maintenance, not repair.
Steve, can you move your mic so it catches you and Bob, please?
So last year, you had cleaning supplies, apparatus, fire trucks maintenance, and ESI equipment, service contract for ESI,
ESI is the Hamacho Rescue Tools.
and then fire department apparatus, Ridgewood, Village of Ridgewood was 5,000, those are your big ones. The other stuff is probably cleaning supplies in the wrong thing, so, well, no, well, I don't know, do you have cleaning supplies for the trucks? You might.
We buy them for the inspection every year in May, so.
Are we okay with the 10,000, gentlemen?
How many 5,000 covered, 1 PM for one truck? Or-
Well, here's the problem with Ridgewood. I don't know exactly what they did. We sent 2 trucks there, beginning probably June. 2 trucks went there, and both those trucks had to go back a second time for repairs. And I don't think we ever got a completed bill from them. We requested it several times. We got 1 bill, I think, for 1 truck PM, and that was it. We got nothing else for repairs or anything else that I've ever seen.
So you don't know what was actually done?
I
to
have
the
no
truck?
idea exactly what was done. When we
That's an issue.
Really? When we started with the county, because the 1 truck ended up going to the county
Right.
because of their failure to repair, that's why when they looked at it, they took the truck for a week and a half. And he went from tip to tail, because he goes, I don't know what they did, you don't know what they did.
So it's
And
two, right?
there was no way to tell.
That has to be, that issue has to be addressed sometime.
But then we
Well-
had fire and safety come in.
Well, that was the repair we just had to have done because of the water damage, but,
He saw things that weren't done, that should have been done during the PM, so
right.
So
we're gonna have to address it this year.
we moved away from fire and safety to more local vendors because we thought there was a cost benefit and perhaps trucks wouldn't be out of service as long because they didn't have to be taken away. Does 1 year of this experiment prove anything?
As far as Ridgewood, I've been completely done with them. Now, we started with the county, I'm willing to give them a shot.
Are we still using Paramus?
Paramus, I believe we still have their contract with them. There was issues in past because of the way things were paid. We had to get the 8 quotes
Correct,
and everything
definitely.
like that, and
So can we maybe have an open dialogue with Paramus and let them know that we have
I
a
spoke to,
new...
We do.
Okay.
The pay issue's been resolved with them.
Yep.
But there are certain areas where they specialize.
Right.
There's some DMF vehicles, we would prefer to use them. The fire side, I think the county's got a little more knowledge on your
Okay.
apparatus and parameters.
That's fine.
And I think the county's been doing okay so
Well,
far, even though
they've worked on 1 truck.
relatively new, yeah.
They worked on 1 truck, they did a couple of things just to get us going. The other big repairs, we went to fire and safety. Like I said, I'm willing to give the county a shot to see, but, again, my concern is just some of the more fire department end of it, whether or not they're going to be able to handle it.
And we have some fire and safety, on our rolls because they are experts.
They are the manufacturers of two of our rigs. Like I said, they do fire trucks. Yeah, because like I said, the county's been good so far.
And sometimes penny wise, dollar foolish if we don't send it to the right people to get it just
Well,
repaired the right time,
We
right
learned
the first time.
We learned that
We've done
lesson with the rescue truck with the bodywork going to
Correct.
American Ford, so
Yeah. Well
that bit us, so.
That bit
but
you had to
like I
redo
said,
it.
I'm willing to work I met with Vincent down there when we had the vehicle, the engine down there, they did the work on it. Our biggest problem with Ridgewood was there was no communication. In fact, when we were having the problems, it ended up the mayor having to call their mayor and the town administrator before they would even, and I'll give you the example of the problem we had. It went out for the preventive maintenance, it came back, he's driving the truck, we thought the truck was on fire. The alternator wasn't tightened in place. We found that one belt was too big, the other belt was too small, and the belt blew.
Oh.
So I called them up and
Can't fill up with smoke.
filled up with smoke on Pascack Road.
So I guess my thought process is, it's your equipment, you're the chief, you guys, you just do what you think is, you guys.
Well, like I said,
You can't be jerking around with this.
No, no.
You gotta give it a
Especially here,
shot.
and that's.
Like I said, so far the county's been good. They
Okay.
seem they have knowledgeable mechanics.
Okay.
But if we start running into this,
Yeah,
they can do diesel motors and they can do this, but we start running into some issues with pump work and that, then I will insist to try and get it down to fire and safety or manufacturer. So,
You don't have to insist. If you feel that's where it needs to go, then that's where it goes.
I think we,
control the agenda.
yeah, I mean, especially given the refresh rate on these trucks, that to try to save a few dollars on maintenance when we could extend the life or,
I was hoping to have all 4 trucks done last year. We got 2 barely done, so,
Okay.
but.
So, I think,
All
so
right.
if we were to
So
sort
do you have
of
enough for the other
do
ones?
PMs,
Yeah,
so 10K is good?
that should cover PMs on all 4 trucks.
Okay.
Okay. Fire hose testing, 3,000 requested, 2,500 budgeted. You okay with that, John?
So,
Last year, nothing was spent.
It was done near the end of the year, so
Yeah.
Sue, do you need to pick up what we just finished with the 10? We said 267 was okay for 10,000?
Yeah, I told you 10,000, I said, you only did one line item, that was
Yeah.
great.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, all right.
all you have is one.
Good job.
This time.
So hose testing, we're on hose testing. 3,000 was requested, 2,500 was budgeted. You spent, we have a bill that came in late, you're saying, Bob?
We did.
For 2018, there was money spent, the bill's not on here yet.
How much you spent?
It was around $2,000.
Okay.
The one question I have is, I think last year we purchased a lot of new hose.
Yes, we got all, the 5-inch hose that was it last year, or year before? It's Adam's year.
It was 2 years ago.
2 years ago. So the first year when we purchased it, it came in and certified. After that, every year it has to be certified. So with the pump testing,
So
the hose testing.
A one-year-old hose has to be recertified.
Yes.
Yep.
Every year, NFPA, they come in, they pressure test it, check the fittings, and they go through the whole.
the hoses get run over. And
How
things
long
happen
do
to
they
calls.
last in service?
The hose itself, as long as
Yes.
it passes testing, we have hose a lot of years old.
Oh, really?
Yeah, as long as it passes
it's
the
not
testing.
damaged or
Yes,
anything.
no damage, and it passes the testing, it can stay in service.
Running
Are we okay
over-
with the 2,500, gentlemen?
Sorry to hold you up.
Yeah, you don't need any new hoses, right?
No.
Good?
No.
All right, fire department, purchase of pagers, 901-25267-002, 2,500
Thank you.
requested, 2,500 budgeted. Are we okay with that, gentlemen?
Yes.
Okay.
We're always buying them, so I guess you guys,
That did not sound good.
No.
No.
I didn't do a thing.
What the hell was
What
that?
the- Rich,
One of your new
I
units.
think we're okay.
The lights are still on, so
I felt it right through my feet, yeah.
that was, I'm gonna guess accident or transformer blew up. One
Yeah,
or
it's
the
either a
other.
transformer or
An accident.
Yeah, 901-25267-003, turnout gear, 20,000 requested, 20,000 budgeted. Do we have a late bill that we didn't get in 2018 yet?
We found this,
Or is this totally a miss?
It was submitted, it was miscoded, and there were items missing. We unraveled the mess.
Yeah.
Waiting for revised pricing.
But we got equipment, we just didn't pay
We got
for
no
it.
equipment.
Oh, we got it already?
the last year equipment we got, it just, that was the bill that was never paid. That's the vendor that
And
contacted
then
me.
we still have to add helmets to it, right?
We still have to add the helmets because that was removed from our...
All right, so we
this
did
is
spend
north of
money, so we did.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
All right, gentlemen, we okay with the 20,000, gentlemen?
So is the 20 from last year, or the 20 from this year, or you need 20 and 20, or? We owe 20,000 that we haven't paid, so we
No,
have to
no,
put-
we,
That was what we put in last year, 20,000.
what we put in last year, yeah.
And we do have an invoice coming for, what, 15 and change, you just said, Bob?
15, yes.
Yeah,
Right,
that
so-
was submitted already for last year's purchase
Correct.
to cover the cost.
Right,
And now we're asking for 20 for 2019, 20,000.
so then we need 35,000.
No, we don't need 30.
No.
Are you
No.
no, it's just 20.
The bill didn't get paid yet, Bob.
Are you
Has it been-
anticipating more
Was it
members?
a,
That way you
yeah.
need more
it's
turnout
not
people?
even-
Well, the
I
one,
think
the one-
Bob was saying that they're going over some specifics of the bill, right? Right?
Yeah, but it's not
There was a
encumbered.
bill earlier in the year that was miscoded and not paid. The chief discovered it, we researched it, we've properly coded the bill, there's a few items they need to add to it, so we can get it done at one time.
But can I ask, is it gonna, when it gets reprocessed or processed properly, is it gonna be 18 expense or 19 expense?
Well, it's
18 expenses.
Okay.
It's already appropriate in that year.
So you've encumbered it.
Didn't miss anything.
Well, I don't have to feel, I believe
It
Bob
was-
was
we didn't get
bill,
there.
right?
You've encumbered it.
It was encumbered.
Oh,
Okay. So approximately 15 was last year. How many sets are you buying a year? Do you rotate through everyone?
as best as we can. The turnout gear is only good for 10 years. That's everything, helmet, jacket, pants,
NFPA
boots.
life.
NFPA standard is 10 years life on it. And to answer your question, we're looking to get, it's running about 3,500%. We're also looking to upgrade, which we have not done, which is, we really need to. We have no bailout system. So if a person's on an upper story, you're jumping. It had been discussed years ago about doing it, so I had put the extra money in last year to upgrade some of our existing gear to put this on, and we had problems with it, so it didn't work out. That's why I'm asking for this money this year, to start getting this in place.
Does that require more training?
Yes.
And is that covered above?
Yes,
the training?
it'd be a yearly once-a-year training. I'm not ready to put the whole system in place yet, because there is training gear you have to buy with it. But what we're doing is upgrading the existing gear we bought with the special belt loops to take, it's basically a harness that you wear underneath it.
What, do you spike it in the wall and then jump?
It comes with a hook and it's a little rope bag. So you would actually hook onto something, you would spike it in the wall, spike it in the floor, and bail out of the building.
And is it a mechanical
It'll
to lower you?
Yeah.
Or is there a brake on it? Or
Yeah,
do you?
Yeah, it's almost, it's similar to a rappelling system, where it'll have almost like a handbrake on it. So as you come out the window, now you're just working this little handbrake and lowering yourself down on the rope. But like I said, I'm looking to upgrade the existing gear now, and then down the road, we'll start implementing it as we get
Are
it
we
in
okay with
place.
this 20,000, gentlemen?
Well, it seems like this system's worked out fine, because in the past, we didn't have this line item, and we constantly put it in at 16.
Right.
Because a couple of years, before 2014, we were spending 45, $60,000, and this seems to have a good turnover rate. My question, the washer and dryer we put in there years ago, is that helping preserve a lot of
Oh,
this
yeah.
stuff and
Yep.
extending the life?
Extending the life, yes, and
Okay.
We gotta do this. They gotta have this.
All right, fire Scott Pack compliance, 901-25268-000, 2,500 requested, 2,500 budgeted. We okay with that? Is that a contractual thing? We get the guy to come in and make sure they're in compliance?
every year they come in, just like with a hose testing, a pump
Okay.
testing.
Ladder testing, 901-25268-002, 2,500 requested, 2,500 budgeted. We okay
Bills
with-
came in late on this as well.
So we have bills to be paid in 18, which are encumbered, just not showing
Does
up.
one company do all this testing? and they
That's
all
for
do it
the
same-
ladder
all at the
testing?
same time?
Yes.
They come
Yes.
like-
Well, they'll
Ladder
do
testing,
all the hose
002.
testing one day.
December.
They come in,
They'll
they'll do a ladder
December.
test, and then we do a pump test, so
So it's done within a week's time or 2 weeks' time?
depending. Weather is a big thing, especially with the ladders. They can't have it more than 15-mile-an-hour winds, it's got to be a certain temperature, so it's,
Okay.
My only thing would be that we bumped it up, and we've been bumping it up, and the rate of the actual expense is not mirroring that. So, you know, it's not, I don't know if it's worth nickel and diming it, but I think we should, you know, look to, if we're gonna do run rate planning, we should plan at the run rate. So 2,500 I'm fine with, but.
Yeah, you know what the problem is? You don't really, some of these things know what the real run rate is,
Well,
because you don't know where the expenses are.
believe me, I'm looking at the Scott Pack compliance, and I'm wondering what some of these
Yeah, that's what
are.
I'm saying, so.
Okay.
All right. Fire incident, 0 requested, 0 budgeted. Department of Fire death benefits, 0 requested, 0. Fire hydrant service, 150,000 requested, 150,000 budgeted. That's a contractual number with Suez.
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay. Fire department physicals, 1,500 requested, 1,000 budgeted. Are we okay with that, John?
Well, they're pretty expensive.
Well, you said you might have
Actually-
more people though, right? What's your force now? I'm sorry, you said you have up to 60 by ordinance.
By ordinance, we have 60 maximum.
And you have how many now?
I think we're about 40, no, I think 47 to 52, right in that range. The 3 new members already had they were already physical, so they're actually done.
So we okay with the 1,000 for this year?
Yeah.
Just a question, there's one name, and I don't want to mention his name, but there's one person that has an annual physical. Do we offer annual physicals? And just,
Is that an age mandate?
Oh, Joe had to go get he was a junior, and then he became a full-time member, so he had to get, when he became full-time, he had to get a physical.
okay,
So he went from junior status to full-time.
okay,
So we okay with the 1,000?
It's not an annual, we don't offer annual to anyone.
okay.
No names.
Okay. Length of service award program, LoSAP, 95,000 requested, 96,500 budgeted. Any reason for this, Mr. Mayor? Is this a typo, or?
Is it, Bob, I don't know.
I think there's a lot's been
Yeah.
changed because of the new members.
Yeah, we might have, it should probably be 96.5 all the way across.
So we want to change, so we want
Just
96,500 for this?
Yes.
Gentlemen, this is a LoSAP award, it's calculated, right? So we just certified, so it should be 96,500.
I don't know, this is Mike's baby, Mike Holman's baby.
So I think it's a good number based on, you know, it's I think our maximum exposure. The chief and I have been speaking a little, we've, I guess, been in 2 years into the new calculation, or is this the?
19 is probably the third year.
Third year.
I think 19 is the third year.
Myself, you and Brendan sat
Yes.
down
Yeah,
and went over
I was
everything.
in on it all.
I think it's on the third, we're on the third.
Yeah.
So, as with anything, as you move forward, you evaluate. So we're going to sit down and look at it to make sure that it's achieving what we want to incent active participation. But at the moment, you know, I think it works. Maybe just tweaking of some maximum credits for certain categories, but the chief and I have been speaking offline, and I think we're in good shape with that.
Thank you. Thank you, gentlemen.
So, obviously, there's a capital budget, and there's you know, the elephant in the room. So, without getting into a discussion on the firehouse, that's a much bigger discussion. So there's a firehouse. There is, I believe, 2 trucks, if I'm not mistaken, a ladder and an engine.
It was,
The ladder, I think, is next
the ladder would
year.
be
Ladder is
next year.
2020,
Right.
2020, the engine is this year
This
for
year,
650, engine 44.
Yes.
Okay. So, are those the only capital items? So, the firehouse, obviously, and 2 engines, 2 trucks.
An engine this year, and the ladder truck was next year. That was the only thing we had.
Okay. So the engine, is that, my apologies, but weren't 2 vehicles purchased in the same year or almost concurrently? And was it an engine and a rescue or
It was
two?
an engine and rescue. That's when I was chief again, yes. We purchased an engine and a rescue at that time.
Okay. Is this the engine that, the brother to the rescue?
No,
No.
Okay.
this was in 1994.
This is a 1994 engine that was purchased.
1994. And the latter is?
87.
1987.
Just go.
Chief, this new engine,
She's a hardworking girl. She's still going. So I love that truck.
87's a good year, man.
See?
You put, we don't have your tire budget here, but you put tire budgets in, tires?
We should be covered completely on tires from last year. I think we outfitted all the trucks with tires. So the trucks are done.
other than a blowout or something.
A repair, right.
And,
We didn't see a line item for truck repair, though.
that's more in the
That's further
DMF.
back.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, it's in the DMF line.
Yeah.
We can go down to that.
While you bring up the firehouse, just to let you know, Conley, in working with the departments, will probably have something to the council for presentation, one of our meetings in April.
So are 4 trucks in the current configuration, rescue, 2-engine, and a ladder, 1, the right combination, and 2, the right size? Like, could the town survive on 3 trucks in total?
My personal opinion, no. I have a meeting, the Insurance Services Organization, man, is coming March 9th. How that would affect our ISO rating, I'm sure it would make it go down. My personal opinion.
So Chief,
we
very
have now.
quickly, if our ISO rating goes down, our homeowner's insurance goes up by drastic dollars.
It could change, yes.
No, not that it could change, it will change.
Yes. But what we have right now, I think, works very well. And to drop it down, I would be uncomfortable with it.
Okay.
I would be uncomfortable with it.
So based on our lack of replacing these vehicles, we're going to see a homeowner's insurance adjustment this year and next year possibly because of the lack of our
We may.
replacement of these vehicles.
When I was deputy chief, I dealt with the ISO man, and I believe he said, after 30 years on a ladder truck, they don't recognize it. So we'll be curious to see how this.
We have to see how it plays out as far as the points. You get points for every
Correct.
category. You don't lose points for not having something, but you don't gain it. You want to gain. We'll see how that plays out. Like I said, March 9th, I have the meeting with him. And the age of, obviously, age of apparatus is going to play into it. Pumping capabilities and all that. I mean, we've done better by upgrading our hose because that's water delivery, so that's an improvement there. So yeah, in the scheme of things, it could affect it.
But at the end of the day, the overall age of the trucks is the issue, not the PM, nothing like that. It's just that physical date of 87 being 32 years old.
Yes.
And that's the answer.
Right.
That's the problem.
So who is ISO?
It's an Insurance Services Organization.
Okay.
They'll actually rate the town
For
fire protection. They had come in, I believe it was 2015 was the last one we had, I'm not sure. Yeah, I wasn't involved in that then. So they had contacted
Every
us.
5 years or so.
Give or take, yeah.
Is there a need to have a risk manager, or is he there?
Does he get involved with
I don't
this in
think
the
so,
past?
because that's not a municipal
Maybe
property.
a specialty. Bring somebody in.
Well, so, in all due respect to you, chief, so we have the chief talking to this organization. Should there be someone else from the town representing the town and understanding, not that the chief doesn't, but I would think we pay a risk manager to manage our risk, and I would think that understanding what the fire department, the activity of the fire department, their, how they're equipped, and how that might impact the township.
I will certainly ask him about, because he does other towns also, so I'll ask him if that's something he does for other towns, or if not, do they have a specialty person or organization that they can point us to?
Because I'm assuming they come in, they do a sort of a quantitative assessment, the age of equipment,
Not only equipment, they check, they're looking at qualifications, officer qualifications, they look at training records. Everything that we do, they want to see the paperwork. They want to see rules and regulations to make sure that we're up to snuff, we're up to standard.
Do they issue a report?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
You can ask your homeowners for it, like, your homeowners will give you a lot of information. The New Jersey manufacturers had a lot of information regarding how your ISO, I don't know who you have as homeowners, but they have.
You may want to talk to
Well,
the
if you
police.
talk to
and
them,
if you
they'll
hear
give you a lot of
about
information on it.
Power DMS that they speak of, document, it's
I
like.
use it at work.
Oh, okay,
Everything they're getting
okay.
now, I use at work.
Could we use, since we're going to get a license for either the department or the town, is that something you can use in the fire department to keep track of training and?
Well, the new system that we're doing, the new Red Max
policies, I should
system,
say.
it covers.
Oh, it has that in there also?
It has training modules, it has,
Oh, okay, good.
membership history, it'll cover all our records
Good,
and everything.
okay.
That we have
All right,
covered already.
good.
But yeah, everything they're getting, I use at work.
Okay, makes sense.
We're going to wrap this up?
I believe we've, anything else, gentlemen, on the Capitol for the chief and,
Have you spec'd this out yet?
The engine, unofficially,
what's
because
your build time on it?
10 to 12 months.
This
From
least,
from the signature. I spoke to, we brought one vendor in, Pierce Manufacturing, looking for two other vendors. Even though we talked about using the cooperative purchasing, which we don't have to go out to bid, I would be more comfortable speaking to three vendors, get an idea of what's out there now. Yeah, Houston Galveston.
Yeah.
So we spoke to the one vendor.
okay.
Ballpark without really sitting down and crunching numbers, 560, give or take, and then the soft costs would be separate. Because of Houston Galveston, you're only getting the vehicle with nothing else. So Scott packs, those things would be a separate soft cost that we'd have to do.
So you get a rolling frame or a rolling chassis, basically?
You get the whole truck. The whole truck, you just with
Empty cabins.
zero on it,
Empty
nothing on
cabins.
it. The other two trucks we purchased were through the bidding process, but we had the equipment was already in the bid. So that equipment came with the vehicles. Where this was only, you'll only get the truck through the cooperative. So anything else that flashlights, axes, those things like that, would have to be purchased separate.
And does anything come off the old truck? Does anything come off 44 that goes on?
Anything we can use, we take off. Equipment, saws, anything that's usable, we'll take off and use.
And is there a secondary market for a 25-year-old truck?
Yeah, they'll love it out here. They'll love it out in Wyoming.
Well, there's towns that'll pick it up. There's towns that'll work.
The engine you could probably sell. The ladder truck is where you're going to have the problem because it doesn't meet any qualifications.
But engines, other towns, I know we gave a couple of hours
yeah.
away in other towns that work
They'll-
in. And it goes as their first responder because they don't have one. So to them, it's gold. It doesn't work for us, but it works for
When we
them.
replaced the ladder truck back in '87, there was a department from Georgia, I believe it was, that drove up.
It took the
In
truck.
their pickup,
Yeah.
slept in our firehouse because they didn't have the money to stay anyplace, and drove it back.
I believe it.
So,
I mean, you look at these
They're
natural
like our new
disasters.
firehouse. When we get it, we'll have a bunker
We're
for
so
them.
fortunate to have what we have. We don't understand the
oh,
other parts of the country.
100%.
They don't have anything.
I see it all the time. It's how they operate. I can't fathom it.
Low taxes. There you go. They don't have to buy fire trucks.
They save chimneys. They save chimneys.
Oh, that's not nice.
Were you guys the ones that was set up with cots and all these goodies, God forbid there be some...
We had the folding cots, which were interesting to say the least.
fold?
A few of them broke, which, needless to say, was rather funny, like a bunch of school kids at a sleepover, but very uncomfortable. I ended up sleeping in the chief's office on the carpet on the floor. Yeah.
You needed chiropractic services afterwards, right?
Set a table up outside.
Gentlemen, can we have, we're done with with the fire department.
so sorry.
Can we have Sue advertise for next Monday and Wednesday for special budget meetings on the 11th?
We're going to cut it off here?
We're going to cut it off here. It's 10 o'clock.
So next Monday, Tuesday again?
Monday, Wednesday again, yes.
Monday.
So it would be
11.
Saturday, Monday?
No, we're not, Saturday is, are we advertised for Saturday, Sue? We are, so yeah, Saturday is DMF and
Rec.
Rec. Oh, you did advertise for that.
Yeah.
Okay.
But, well, whatever you want to do. We can call, whatever you need.
Dr. Katz, you're not available
I'm
Saturday?
not available Saturday, so you guys can have it without me, it's all right. It's no big deal.
I might not be also.
And you're not here Saturday
I'm
either?
here, but I have family coming in, so
So can we move them to Monday night?
It might work better because the DMF director can't be here Saturday either.
Okay, so then we'll cancel,
So, cancel
we'll cancel Saturday, and can we advertise for Monday the 11th and Wednesday the 13th, please? All right, thank you,
Yep.
gentlemen.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you so
Motions to adjourn?
Some of
Thanks for your services.